Oh my God. Are we going to have a field day today? Those were the exact words of my friend Xander Kraus. By the way, he killed it yesterday. He was fantastic. Starting next week, he's going to be doing every Tuesday at 3:30. But we always start the program out with Big Sills. Now, you have a quarterback in Philly by the name of Wishbone Hurts. We have a new one. Kenny Flickett. Yeah. Ooh. Wow, am I a fan of Kenny Flickett with small hands. Kenny Flickett. By the way, Xander's got the trademark on that. Kenny Flickett, Sue. Wow. OTAs, baby. And Kenny Flickett is outperforming Jalen Hurts. Come on, Wishbone. 67 days until the start of training camp. Kenny Flickett is looking better than Hurts in training camp. Woo! What is going on? Come on, Prince. Kenny, say it with me, Prince. Kenny Flickett. Say it with me, Twiz. Kenny Flickett. Oh, wait, look at this. Prince goes incorrect. No, he's outperforming him. He looks better in camp than what Hurts does. That's a fact. No, still, he's lying. Oh, yeah. Hey, man, they're really happy with Kenny Flickett. Woo! Source, Clint Hurt says the kid's looking great. Kenny Flickett. Say it with me. Outperforming Hurts. Woo, dog. What's going on? What in the world is going on? How can that possibly be? I thought this 2024 is going to be a massive turnaround. And Kenny, small hands, Flickett, is now outperforming Jalen Hurts. Come on now, man. Say it with me. Say it with me. Oh, man. Oh, no, but Senor, Clint Hurt is out there at practice going against his boy. He is the D-line coach trying to track the guy. Oh, my God. What's wrong, Jalen? It's only helmets and shorts. How can you suck in helmets and shorts? That's right. How can you suck in helmets and shorts? It's set up for success. Not this guy. Kenny Flickett. Boom. Like a shotgun. Dang. Small hands, Flickett. Ooh. Bam. Unbelievable. Small hands, Flickett. Heard Pickett is outperforming Hurts. Jalen, come on, 304. Thanks for the super chat. Look at that. Hey, 304. Kenny Flickett is outperforming Hurts in a drill, and in drills, that makes you supposed to look great. Here you go with the bullshit. Laughing my ass off. I'm laughing my ass off too. Your boy's bombing in helmets and shorts. 2024. You talk about unhinged. New shirts by JAKIB. Kenny Flickett. Yes, he can now. On pre-order, baby. Kenny Flickett. Damn. Big old pitcher, Kenny with small hands. And then there's Hurts in the background going. Look at Corey. I know, man. Isn't that crazy? You're in helmets and shorts and you suck. Damn. Can't be. Heard it came from his agent. Really? What drill? Whose hand is the smallest holding the football drill? Damn, for real? Like that? Bruce, can you believe it? Pickett looks better than Hurts already, man. Damn, wait till training camp. Oh, my God, you're going to have a controversy this year. You're going to have a controversy. Oh, yeah. Look at this. Don't you want the best man to get the job? Guy goes, you suck. Holy cow, man. Hey, by the way, you're not willed these jobs. You're not willed these jobs. Hey, did Kenny Pickett, by the way, have talent like this in Pittsburgh? No. How do you know he couldn't do better than Hurts? Was a first-round pick. Shit, Xander liked him in the draft. I remember that. How do you know he doesn't go to a place with really good players and play better? Guy said that about other guys. Tomlin could not make Pickett good. Okay, well, outside of Pickens, who were their wideouts? They fired the offensive coordinator halfway through the season, too. Matt Canada. And he's now outperforming Wishbone Hurts. Shit. Damn, it's only May 24th, kid. We already got a problem with the quarterback. Kenny Flickett. Look at this guy. Deontay Johnson is a solid receiver. Yeah, but you got A.J. Owens and Devontae. Two $35 million receivers. Damn. By the way, I added this up. Hey, I listen, I'm not even talking about caps and all this and that. I'm just talking about a guy getting a paycheck every week. How about this one? You got a $175 million offense. $50 million quarterback, $10 million running back, $32 million receiver, $18 million receiver, $20 million left guard, $15 million right tackle, $15 million left tackle, $15 million tight end. Shit, the right guard, thank God, is on a rookie deal, and wide receiver 3 doesn't matter. You got about $180 million in offensive football players. Shit, you better be good. When you're writing a check every day, hey, I'm not talking about, I'm talking about paying a guy. You got $180 million of your $255 salary cap in your offense. $180 million you have lined up in that offense. Shit, man, anybody's going to look good in that thing, don't you think? Huh? And there you have it. Kenny Flickett is outperforming your boy. Man, can't believe it. No, I can believe it. He ain't that good. Big Sills, if you could add one player in the NFL that isn't a quarterback to the Eagles to make them better, who would you pick? Great question. Eagle Guru. If I could add one player, I'd like to add Travis Kelce to that Eagle offense. Travis Kelce. I'd like to put that in there. Ain't no fake news, Nick. What's fake news is that coach picking his coaches or not firing his coaches or whatever he does. I still haven't figured that fucking thing out yet. Yeah, but you want to know what fake news is? The head coach of your football team is fake news because he's got a fake job title. That's fake. And that's legitimate. When he don't even have a nameplate on his office door anymore, Sirianni. It just says, dude. It just says, dude. Dude without a country. Dude without a job. That's what's on his door. You go D-line, defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio. You know, you go into coaches' offices, everyone's got a nameplate. You know what's on Nick's nameplate? Nothing. They even took his name off it. And he had, hey, who is he? I don't know. How you doing? Damn, Kenny Flickett is outperforming Jalen Hurts at OTAs? Oh, I see. Hey, Dan, Quinyon Mitchell, he looks unbelievable. When you hear Darius Slay talking about the young players and how good everyone looks, you know what you get Eagle fans doing? Man, that's such a great thing. I can't believe how well. But when you hear Pickett's doing well, you're like, fake news. Oh, I know why. Why are you so protective? I don't give a shit about Jalen Hurts' feelings or anybody's feelings on a 53-man roster, and nor should you. Best man wins the gig. I'm not playing a guy because, what, you like him? Kidding me? How many people do you think really like Aaron Rodgers? But I'd play with that. Hey, would you rather play with Aaron Rodgers or Jalen Hurts? You know, I'll play with the asshole. I'll play with him. I'll be all right with that. Four-time MVP, I'll play with him. Jalen all day. Are you crazy? You think Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers? Even at 40. That's like saying Jalen was better 2 years ago than Brady. It's not true. And he was 44. Give me a break, guy. Come back to reality. Come on. I'll help you out here. Kenny Flickett. Kenny Flickett. Rodgers can't move anymore. Yeah, okay. He don't have to. He'll throw 30 touchdowns and 4 picks. Your boy will have 20 turnovers. Give me a break, guy. Yeah, you know what? Aaron Rodgers, I don't even know if he's ever had double-digit turnovers in a year in his 18 years. Maybe one time in his 18 years. What are you, out of your mind? You're talking about one of the greatest spinners of the football in the history of the league. And he won that MVP award when he was what? Oh, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, he won that MVP when? 3 years ago? And you got Kenny Flickett outperforming your boy. Woo! Damn! What happened? Hey, that Kellen Moore's making an impact. $175 million in that offense. Shit, you better be good. Holy cow. Woo-wee! No one's saying that, you idiot. You're saying half the story per usual. Do your research. I don't need to do research. Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Hurts. Night. I don't need to do research. That's not anything I need to research. Okay? I don't need to research that. Okay? I don't need to research it. Oh, God, this is great content for sports talk. Nick, fake news sills. Kenny cleans the laundry for Hurts. Thanks, Nick, for the super chat. Hey, Nick, tell you what, Jalen puts a couple of more performances up, and Kenny Flickett. New Jersey's own. Hey, by the way, that guy's from Jersey, right? So all them Jersey hammerheads are going to come rolling down into Lincoln Financial. If that dude puts a couple interception games back to back, what do you think they're going to be screaming at Lincoln Financial? Put Kenny Flickett in. By the way, Xander Krause has trademarked that. Okay? So if I start hearing, because I hear my topics all over the place on WIP and on that other thing that's still up and running, believe it or not, I say by Christmas, believe me, by Christmas, they're doing progressive talk. Anyway, okay? All I'm telling you is that is owned by JAKIB. Kenny Flickett. Damn. Kellen Moore likes his pocket passing quarterbacks. Hurts does not fit the mold either. move on or tell Lori to run the RPOs. Trevor, I love it. Oh, who do you think Kellen Moore wants to coach? Pocket passer or an RPO guy? He's never coached an RPO guy. Seals, would you trade Hurts for Tua? No. Even though Tua's a better passer. Tua is a bowl of chiclets away from retirement. Okay? Aaron Rodgers, 10 out of 19 seasons was over 4,000 yards, and 8 out of 19 seasons with 30-plus touchdowns. Thank you, dude. Way to go, senor. That's right. Thank you. Kenny flick it. Shit. Kenny flicks it. The defense picks it. Beam Costello. That's really good. B. Costello. Yes, sir, man. That's a good one. Kenny flicks it, and the defense picks it. Oh, my God. I can't even believe I'm actually talking about small hands picking. You know, everything looks bigger with a dude with small hands. Holy cow. Kenny Pickett gets on the field if and only if Hurts has projectile. I hate, man. I'm not going down there. If Pickett gets on the field ever, I'm done with this team. Nick's like this. If that guy gets on the field, it's over. Prince, stop doing his job for him. Doing my job for me? Hey, Prince, I wish I had you 30 years ago. You really would have helped me out a lot. I've been doing the thing 35 years. Thanks, Prince. I appreciate that. But, you know, hey, what the hell? I had my wife. Hurts at Lincoln Financial speaking at the Women's Football Fest. Good, man. That's cool. Hey, nobody says the guy's not a great dude. I don't care about that. That has no bearing on winning games. Great dude. Everyone wants their stars to be great people. I get it. But when you're in a locker room, you're 53 man, you're looking if the guy can play and help you win championships. This ain't the homeboy crowd. This isn't the good guy Father of the Year awards. You're not looking for the best dudes on the planet team. You're looking for winners. And that comes every shape and form. Okay? Like, you got Adrian Peterson, who I happen to think is a jackass. Beats his kid with a switch. Minnesota Vikings thought enough to put him in the locker room next to people and next to guys who probably didn't think highly of him. But you know what they did think? He can help me win. Help me get my bonuses. So I'll suck it up. You compromise your integrity. You know why? Because there's a big paycheck at it. And don't tell me you wouldn't either. If I knew Adrian Peterson and I was an offensive lineman and I knew he could gain 2,000 yards, but he's an asshole, and I don't really like him character-wise, and I don't want to bring him over to my family, but he got me an incentive of $5 million because we were number 1 in the NFL in rushing. Do I want to play with that asshole? Of course I do. You missed the point, guys. When you're in that league, it ain't about the best guy award. You're hoping they're all cool. You are. You're hoping for that. But you're looking for football players. That's what separated Jimmy Johnson from a lot of... He didn't give a shit. Charles Haley was not the coolest dude. He didn't care. 3 sacks, 9 tackles, 2 TFLs a game. That's all he cared about. It's all he cared about. This guy says he's an Eagles fan. I never said that. And got the damn... Hey, Jackwagon, I played for the Bucks. And the only teams you see back there are teams I played for. Canes, Bucks. Okay, that's why it's there. And one of the greatest Hall of Famers in the history of Hall of Fame, and the greatest 34 end of all time, is one of my dearest friends and was my mentor at Tampa. I don't have jerseys hanging up except the ones that I'm associated with and teams I played with. Okay? And I told you, I'm a fan of your fan base. I told Joe Kraus and Xander this all the time. It really doesn't matter who's on the air on the radio stations in Philly. Just like in Buffalo. Doesn't matter. Occasionally you get a great one like Angelo. Occasionally you get great host. But it's the fans. It's the fans that run those networks. You guys are awesome. It's a great fan base. It's absolutely a great fan base. You thought the moral was low at the end of the year. If you bench Hurts without him playing like Stevie Wonder and shotgun, there'll be locker room problems. Lennox. If he sucks, he sucks. Just like Wentz. Sit his ass. Dog, I'm not here to make Jalen feel better about himself. I'm here to win football games in a Super Bowl. Okay? Damn, dude. You think this matters about like boys and shit? It doesn't work that way. Hey, Bone Crusher, which person in the Eagle organization do you think is holding them back the most? Great question, Eagle Guru. It's crazy. What man in the organization is holding back the Eagles the most? It's probably Howie. Howie does such a great job. But the guy has too much autonomy to cross over the lines. Dude, he needs to be on the personnel and money side, not in the coaching decision side, and not in the game plan side. What general manager in the NFL has say in a game plan? Unless it's Ozzie Newsome, why would I want a bookworm like Howie Roseman telling me how I should run an offense? What would he possibly know? Why? Because he sits up at night and he's been to a Holiday Express? Why would I listen to that? I wouldn't give a shit what he said or who to play or who to hire. That's my problem with the team. Look, he does a ton of great shit. He totally does. Contracts, cap, all that. Okay, but look, like I said, you got $175 million in paychecks on your offensive side of the ball. You only have a $255 million salary cap, and I get. I'm not doing the salary, but you're paying $175 on one side of the ball. How many double-digit salaries are on the defense? Let's see. One. You got 11. On offense. You got 11. Sales, who would you start if you were head coach? Pickett or Hurts? Hurts. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I absolutely think it's a great thing that Pickett's showing himself well. Maybe that's going to be a commodity come trade deadline that someone's going to maybe want to make a deal for Kenny Pickett. Maybe Howie gets a third or fourth rounder for the guy. Look at what Gardner Minshew did. Gardner Minshew was in the Pro Bowl last year. Is Pickett better than Minshew and Mariota? Yes. That's all that matters. Pickett isn't taking a snap unless Jalen Hurts is in a body cast. Monster, you're hoping that for sure. Or the guy's just absolutely gone the other way. Dude, this year's going to teeter on that. He's in that room again. Like he was going into the 2022 season. He's in that room again. To be fair, once it's time for Jordan and Carter to get paid, the D will get expensive. That's another 3 years, man. They got one for Brad. They got a one for Bradford. Dude, Kenny Pickett is not Sam Bradford. Why do I feel we keep paying quarterbacks way too early? Did it go Wentz? This talk is sounding like we did it to Hurts. Anthony, you know why they pay the quarterback early? Because what they're doing is they're allowing the ability to be able to manipulate the cap. That's what he did. He paid him early so he could pay others. Because truthfully, the $50 million bucks, he's not going to be a true factor on the team for another 2 years. Cap hits aren't stupid. You know, when you start getting around 27, 28, 29, that's when the money starts getting insane. Probably restructure if the guy's doing well. Probably something like that. Okay? Look, guys, I'm kind of kidding with you a little bit. You should be rooting for Kenny Pickett to do well. In case of disaster, something happens, you got a quarterback that's functional that can win you some ball games. Seals, is Howie wrong for not investing more in the linebacker position? Absolutely. All the best defenses have at least one great linebacker, if not multiple. Ravens, 49ers, Jets. Correct. You have one guy, signature guy in the middle. That's why the Ravens stuck on and stayed with Roquan Smith and allowed Patrick Queen to go to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's got a fine linebacker now in the middle. Fred Warner's outstanding in San Francisco. They're starting to really have a nice tandem up in Detroit, too. I mean, if you look around, and especially in the Final Four teams last year in the NFC, look at all the teams that had a really good line. They didn't have to be exceptional. We could have paid Patrick Queen. Absolutely. Got $27.7 million bucks in cap space right now still. Why didn't you pay him? Or how about this? Why didn't you pay Xavier McKinney? Why didn't you do that? Look what the Packers did. They went out, they got Josh Jacobs. They signed into a nice deal. Then they went out and gave Xavier McKinney $17.8 million bucks. And you still would have been under the cap. We'll see how Roquan looks without Queen. I doubt he's going to drop off, kid. He's the best linebacker in the league. I doubt that. Him or Warner, pick one. Flip a coin, I'll take the other one if you don't want him. Are you under the impression a guy who just signed a $120 million contract with the Ravens sucks? Okay, sure, dude. That's why they were in the AFC title game, because he sucks. Sure. I wanted Jacobs or Henry. We're gonna get in, and you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna relent on something with some of you. Do you see the 49ers giving Warner a extension sales at the expense of someone, probably Javon Hargrave? Remember something, Martin. They don't do what the Eagles do. You know what that is? They don't give the bag of money up front like the Eagles do. And that's one of the truly great things that Howie does. That Jeffrey Lurie goes, hey, if you want to build a team, you got to give money up front, not in the back end of the contract, so you're going to beat the Cowboys. You can't beat a Cowboy. Look what the Cowboys are doing. Amari Cooper, gone. Zeke Elliott, back then, now he's back, gone. Tyron Smith, gone. Eagles aren't getting rid of guys like that. Now, they'll let guys like Huss. That's why the Reddick move still shocks me. You could have kept him, paid him, and Huff, and you could have played him the same way you had Javon Hargrave on a one-year contract still remaining, and he went off and went to the Niners and got $20 million bucks. It still blows my mind that they just let the guy walk out the building and he got nothing for it for 3 years. Think about that. You got no return in dumping your best player. You got nothing to show for that. And you really didn't upgrade because you just moved money. Firing the guy and giving that guy his salary is not an upgrade. It's not an upgrade. Mike, I'm hearing Peyton Wilson's doing a great job. And I'm even actually, Mike, hearing that Peyton Wilson's going to get the green dot in Pittsburgh. That's how much Mike Tomlin likes him. He likes him that much. I think it's because Reddick got a call from Holland and he said, tell him I'm out. Still no extension for Reddick. They're not going to give him one. The Jets aren't. You know when the Jets will give him a contract extension? If Hassan Reddick puts up 18 sacks. It's smart. Why should they do that? They don't have to. They were not under any obligation to pay him. Get this. You imagine being traded away from the Philadelphia Eagles knowing full well the team that you're being traded to has no intention of giving you a contract extension. Eagles wanted to get rid of him. Was Hassan Reddick a clubhouse problem? He must have been. That's the only way you get rid of guys like that. Why else would you? Oh, I know. Because he's old. That's the dumbest narrative going. Guy had a cast on his hand for the first 4 weeks. Then that lame-ass Matt Patricia switched the defense up and started dropping the guy in coverage and played him out of position like every other guy on that team. And it cost them both their jobs. Imagine that. Hassan Reddick did everything that was asked of him. Got you pressured. 27 sacks in 2 years. And the Eagles didn't reward him. I thought you rewarded people who were successful for you. How come you didn't reward the guy who was successful? Okay, so JM says he was a clubhouse cancer. I told you this from day one. There is a reason why he's on multiple teams. Because he's one trick. But on a defense like the Jets, he could be a force. That's a good unit. That's a good unit. Guys, please hit the like button. We're trying to get to 200 likes. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. You guys have been awesome this week, too. Fantastic. By the way, Philly 500 is going to join us at 3:30. Then we're going to have the legendary Philly Godfather. He'll join us. Okay? He'll join us at 5:30. You tell me. Speculation? What speculation? You got rid of a guy. That's not speculation. What speculation? What speculation? That he was a clubhouse cancer? Well, why'd you get rid of him? No one played well at the end of the season, including Hurts. The whole team. Eagle fan goes, stop crying over Reddick. Crying over Reddick? Once again, you asked the question, who gets in the way of the Eagles' success? I told you Howie. Right there's a great example of it. You got rid of a guy because you what? Didn't want to pay him? You don't like him? He wouldn't listen? What was it? You know, they won't take accountability for the shit Chernobyl meltdown. They won't take accountability. And every time someone brings up Hassan Reddick's name, everybody in the media gets shut down by Howie Roseman or somebody in the Eagle organization. That propaganda machine, their PR department, they shut that shit down immediately. Don't ask any questions about Reddick. What are you, at the White House? What are you, at the White House? Don't tell me what questions to ask. Have some nuggets. No problem. That's not an asshole question. Why'd you get rid of him? Why don't you keep both of them? So you had Bryce Huff and Hassan Reddick. You think your chances of getting to the quarterback would have been accentuated? Or really, are you really counting on Nolan Smith? Seals, do you believe Devin White has lost his ability to perform at a high level without bias? Prince, I'm going to tell you what he's done the last 4 years. Do I think he's lost his ability? I think what's happened to Devin White is that he's allowed the football business get in his way, and it's affected his play and his mindset. That's why he was benched at the end of the year for a UDFA linebacker who actually helped the Buccaneer defense get better and annihilate the Eagles in the opening round wildcard playoff game. Devin White wasn't hurt. He was a healthy scratch. They didn't even activate him. So when you say, do you really think without bias that that player has lost his ability? I think he's lost his way. I think he's lost his way. And that's right, Prince. He took it personal. Dude, and you know what, Prince? I probably would have too. I probably would have too. That's why when you're hearing people say this about Devin White at camp, hey, he looks good, looks refreshed. He looks like he's focused. That's a great sign. That's a great sign. But you know what I don't like about that, Prince? So you tell me you're a front runner? Like, if something goes sideways, I have to worry about your mental status? If you're going to, I need you when shit's hitting the fan. That's the, you know this as well as I do, Prince. When you're playing football, you're going to have a bump in the road. And the Eagles proved last year with their self-inflicted wound after the Niners and Cowboy game that they panicked. I don't want panic in my locker room. I want stable, I want problem solving. Look what happened in the start of the season for the Buffalo Bills with Allen. They had to get out of that thing with Ken Dorsey. They were losing ball games. Shit, they lost to the Jets. Joe Brady goes in there. What happened? To give Sean McDermott credit, they steadied the ship. Or how about when the 49ers lost, what was it, Trent Williams and Debo, right? They started losing to Cleveland. Couple games in a row they started losing. Hey, man, Kyle Shanahan calmed the waters. What did the Eagles do? They self-inflicted a season-ending wound. Can't have that. You got to have people when the boat's going like this. Hey, hang in there. Hang in there. Right? Hang in there. Yeah, I'm with that, Sills. We had no one step up. Maybe Reddick did. I personally think this one too, Prince. I think without a doubt, one of the problems that he had was when he made that shitty comment in the locker room after a game when said, hey, how come you're not rushing the passer? He goes, I do what they tell me upstairs. They probably hated that. They probably hated that. Think of every single team had an issue last year. Even the Chiefs. Chiefs lost to the Raiders. The Raiders. What was the quarterback's name? Aiden O'Connell beat him? Aiden O'Connell beat him. If I'm not mistaken, they beat him at Arrowhead. Aiden O'Connell? And you're watching the Kansas City Chiefs kind of wobbling around. Calm the waters. Everybody was cool. The game they lost, the receiver dropped the ball against the Eagles. Mahomes is like, we'll be all right. Played their best football down the last 2 months of the season, and what happened? Super Bowl number 2 in a row. That's right. Anthony goes, Chiefs were a bubble team at Christmas. Steady the waters. Yes. Steady the waters. If Devin does great this season, he will get paid. Marcus, Um, to Prince's true question, Sills, do you think this guy could get back on track again? He's only 26. I don't know why he got off the track. It has. Hey, you know what, Prince? His second year when he was all pro, this guy was the captain of the world champion Bucks. He was one of the captains. What happened? He got so butthurt over contract negotiations, it affected his play. And guess what, Prince? That's why I had a high evaluation of him last year, because when I watched him play, I was like this. Holy shit, this guy can rush the passer, and he's fast as hell, and he's one of the most athletic linebackers I've ever seen come out of LSU. Bad coaching? I don't think Todd Bowles is bad coaching. That's a Super Bowl DC. Bad coaching? Doubtful. Todd Bowles was a defensive coordinator on that football team that won the Super Bowl. I don't think that's bad coaching. Yeah, you forgot that. Todd was the DC on that Bruce Arians Super Bowl team. And he was elevated, and the other guy was Byron Leftwich as the OC, working with Bruce. Then I love Todd too. He's better DC than coach. He coached the brakes off of Nick in the wild card round. Yeah, wait a minute, Anthony. Do you know what the Buccaneers did? That was really nothing more. It wasn't any secret in coaching. He blitzed Hurts. They knew Hurts couldn't pick it up. Kelsey said it 2 weeks ago. He struggles in picking up interior pressure. He says it. It's not an opinion. Your Hall of Fame setter said that. I mean, Levante David is a absolutely awesome football player. Man, do I like him. Shows up, knows what to do, no false steps. He is so solid. Is he Roquan Smith or Fred Warner? No, but I'll tell you what, dependable, really a good football player. And truly the heart and soul of that defense. Just a fine ball player, man. I am a big fan of his. I love watching him play. Watch his feet. Never false steps. Fills a gap. Can cover tight ends. You can't fool him that much when it comes to motion. He's so brilliant, man. He's definitely a top 10 in the league. Absolutely, man. I'd put him in the top 7. And again, not the fastest, not the biggest. He's just good. That's right. He's just always solid. That's the kind of guy the Bucks need. Or, the Eagles need. Is that kind of player, David. That kind of linebacker is not going to break your money line. And you got to develop that position. You know what? Here's the problem that you have with the Eagles. They can't develop that position. Why don't you find a linebacker coach like Jeff Stoutland? They're all over the place. There's great linebacker coaches. Vic is pretty good. Maybe that's one of the reasons also they gave the DC job to him too, because his pedigree is LB. That's right, Prince. That's why there was such a high evaluation on Devin White. I watched the tape of White's play, and it seemed like he gave up on them. He let the business side affect his performance on the field. You know what, Prince? That's fixable, though. Prince, that's fixable. Whereas Carson Wentz's mental ability to overcome situations when there's adversity, that's what I was pointing out yesterday to you, Prince. There's a reason Carson Wentz went to Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford, and now is with Reed and Mahomes. You know why? He's got to find out what those traits in those men are, because he doesn't possess them. You see what the Rams are saying now? We may have let the wrong guy out of the building here because we were very happy with Carson Wentz. Wentz is not going to sit around. You know, how many more years does Stafford have? Maybe if I'm Carson Wentz, I should have stayed there too. Sean McVay, you're not going to get too wrong there. And by the way, Andy Reid, is he an upgrade? Little. It is, but it can happen. It can. But Prince, ask yourself, is Devin White mentally capable of overcoming adversity? Damn, dude, that's a problem. That's a problem when mental toughness is a problem. You know what I'm saying? That sucks too, man, even more so. You know why? You know he's got the God-given ability to be able to play and be great. But the business side has gotten to him. Yeah, it seemed like he quit. He did quit because he felt the Bucks quit on him. Dude, they were actually negotiating $100 million. Can you imagine this here, folks? So you're negotiating with your football team that drafted you 5th overall or 6th overall, whatever it was. You're the captain of the team. You helped win a Super Bowl in Tampa. You have a $100 million contract negotiation going on. And at the end of the year, you're benched because you quit, like Prince says. And the Bucks move on and you sign for $3 million. How devastating is that? And if you're smart, you know what your agent tells you? And hopefully your wife, hey, you're now playing for your career. He's playing for his career. He's got to start all over again. He's got to build equity up with Vic and his Eagle teammates. Humbled? $97 million will humble you when you lose that. Absolutely. We picked up 2 top 5 picks for pennies. That's the problem. You spend pennies on defense. That's right. Seals White came in fat. He still doesn't get it. Simple as that. He does not want to play at the high level. At some point, dude has to grow up. Imagine that. I tell people this all the time. To have a mature mentality and to be in shape takes no talent at all. It takes mental focus and mental discipline. You don't have to be an athlete to be in shape. There is not one bit of athleticism it takes to be in shape. You could be a dude that works out at Gold's Gym and he's in better shape than you, and you're a pro football player collecting paychecks and direct deposits every Tuesday. You should be ashamed of yourself. That's when Pillsbury Doughboy Davis shows up and he's a fat ass. There's no excuses for that. He's in shape. Get this. This is what people want me to do. You want me to give a guy kudos and pat him on the back for being in shape? Something that's expected of you? Jesus criminy, what's next? Hey, congratulations, Prince, for not robbing a bank. You want kudos for that too? I'm not saying that to you, Prince, but that's the equivalent of it. You want me to thank you for not robbing a bank. I mean, being in shape, I don't want to, as a coach, you know, when you guys talk like that, and people talk to me, and I know what you mean. You're not really, I get it. But when you're doing shit like this, hey man, he looks really good, Sills. He looks like he's really in good shape. And it's National Football League. What do you expect me to say? Okay, great, he's in shape. Man, that's not number one on my list. Can you play? Are you good? Whether you're in shape or not, dude, I don't want you on my team. I'll take a lesser player who's in shape and ready to go. That's exactly how the Patriots beat people. You think the Patriots really ever had, or even Kansas City right now? And I get it. Mahomes and Brady cover a lot of wounds, and they're the ultimate Band-Aid when it comes to shit on your team. But you know what they did have? They had guys who wanted to play. Chris Logan or Chris Hogan, whoever the guy was. Amendola, Edelman, all them dudes. A murderer. All them dudes wanted to play and were in shape and ready to go mentally and physically. No excuses. No excuses. Please hit the like button. You know, one thing I will say too, and we brought this up a little bit with Xander yesterday, and I'm going to bring it up one more time here before we move on. I haven't even got to the topics yet. I think the Miami Dolphin players did the Eagles one whale of a favor. You got the Philadelphia Eagle defensive football players rallying around Vic Fangio and saying what a cool guy he is. Even Darius Slay's doing shit like this now. I don't know what happened down there, but he's a great dude. You got Jalen Carter talking about him. You've got the young, the old, the vets. You know how easier it is to coach when you got players rallying around a guy because guess what they did? They took a shot at their DC, a guy who's going to put them in a position to succeed or fail, but they're going to be in there with him. I personally think it's a bolt of lightning of luck. They did the Eagles a favor. That's a favor. Thank you. Dude, hey, watch this. I'm critical of your football team, but you've never heard me call you soft. The Dolphins are soft. That's a soft mentality. That's a reflection of Mike McDaniel's culture. You know, the Hello Kitty bag and the motor-powered scooters. And he plugs his pen into like a vape pen or some shit. That's all quirky and cool. I don't really give a shit about stuff like that either. But at the end of the day, your guys are soft. Every time you got into a big-time football game against a powerhouse football team like Philly, you got annihilated. I mean, you were like a jailhouse bitch in that. Every time you played against a tough team, you got rolled. That's mental toughness. I don't want to be coached like that. Hey, shut up. I pay you. I'm the coach. Thank you, Maniac. You were awesome yesterday, keeping us there, man. Thank you so much. Seals, when you conduct yourself like this, your true professionalism shows, and it's okay for constructive criticism. Thank you, Raj. Thank you, Prince. Prince, to circle back what you said, you hope that Devin White gets it. How about this one too, Prince? What a shame. This isn't like in the Kobe Dean situation. Devin White's got the ability to be a 5-star linebacker. He's got the ability to be a 5-star linebacker. Does he want it? Man. I tell you guys this all the time. My aunt hates this. I failed because, you know why? I didn't conduct myself correctly. I allowed the environment around me to bring me my ass down. You know what? I'll tell you this. Guy who runs the company, Joe Kraus, tells me this all the time. I have a propensity to punch down. I stopped doing that shit. Where's it getting me? Where's it got me? Holding grudges? No, I will hold a grudge, and I'm a scoreboard guy. I am. I'm a scoreboard guy. Thank you, Maniac. Appreciate it, man. All right. We're going to do something here. Not going to take a break here. I'm going to relent on something. Do you guys want me to tell you how to get back to the Super Bowl? 10 things Big Sills has to see in 2024 for the Eagles to get back to the Super Bowl. 10 things I have to see. These 10 things have to happen for you to get to the Super Bowl. Okay? If these 10 things happen, okay, I think potentially you could get there. Number one, of course, Hurts has to play great. What entails that? Let's put all the bullshit aside with numbers. Remember what I told you, 4,000, 330. It's not anything to do with that. His best year was his less numbers year in 22. Don't turn the ball over. Protect the football. Protect the football. He can't have 15 turnovers or interceptions. It's got to be cut in half. 7. 7 is acceptable. 7. You're not going to run RPOs. So you have to do it other ways. But if you're going to do that, you can't have 15 interceptions. That was the most destructive thing to that offense a year ago. Get this, you guys put up all the numbers, you were 8th in offense, and you still lost games. And everyone got paid. The only thing that happened with that Eagle offense last year was everyone got a raise. And you didn't win. How do you get a raise when you don't win? RTF, 25 touchdowns, 7 picks. Yep. There's your number. There's your number. That's the standard for Hurts. 25 TDs, 7 interceptions, 700 rushing yards, 10 touchdowns. He's in that 35 touchdown range. All has to happen, which means this. He's got to be a better version of himself from 22, not be a better version of 23. The lack of creativity, the offensive side. I'm going to get, watch this, Prince. Let's go with what Prince just said. Here's number 2. The coordinators have to have an impact. They just can't be decent. Like, they have to have an impact. Kellen Moore has to get predictability out of the building. Motion. You have to have these guys come in here. And dare I say this, Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore have to have the same impact that Jonathan Gannon and Shane Steichen had. Number 3, Barkley's got to be healthy. It's got to be healthy. Here, I'll take 13 games. He can't play less than 13 games. And he can't miss 4 in a row. It's got to be sporadically. Maybe he has a foot injury back the next week. 4, maybe even too much. He can't miss a ton of games. Number 4, Goddard has to have a huge year. For the offense to win. Hey, get this. The last 2 years, who in the passing game would you say has been underachieving? Who underachieves in the last 2 years in your offense? Who's underachieved? It's Goddard. Goddard makes 15.5. He's underachieved. This guy hasn't even hit 1,000. Dude, in a land of giants, of tight ends with the Eagles, and they've had great ones, he's underachieved. Like, get this. He ain't no Zach Ertz. And do I think he's got ability to be better than that? Yeah, but potential is one of those words, once again, that I tell you. When you hear people use, this guy's got potential, that traditionally means he hasn't done it. He's underutilized. Well, if you just heard me say, the coordinators have to have an impact. Number 5, Bryce Huff has got to have a Hassan Reddick year. There can't be a drop-off. If there's a drop-off in Bryce Huff, your sack numbers will be worse than a year ago. If there's a drop-off. Like, he can't come in less than 10 sacks. And get this. It's not an upgrade. If he comes in with less than 10 sacks, actually had 11, and he duplicates what Reddick did, okay, 18.5? I don't know. Where's the upgrade that Howie promised me? What? I mean, is he going to get you 15 sacks? Is that what you're saying? They hired a guy to do the job of Reddick. Okay. Better do it. Number 6. I'm going to concede this. The linebacking core doesn't have to be spectacular, but they have to be solid. They can't be awful. Like, it can't be the worst linebacking core in the NFC East. And right now they are. They can't be. They just need to be solid. Okay? Okay, Joseph, average. They were below average. They can't be terrible. Number 7. The cornerback position has to be great. It has to be great. Here's why. You got $12 million in Bradbury. You got another 11 in Slay. You just drafted a first-round pick, and you got a second-round pick. And you're counting on Isaiah Rodgers. You got money and draft equity in it now. You can't have 3 interceptions between Bradbury and Slay. And if you get rid of Bradbury, you're younger, less experienced. Okay. I don't have a problem playing the younger guys. You had 3 turnovers, and you spent $24 million last year on 2 players who severely underachieved. Number 8, Carter and Davis have to have a big year. They have to be big. Jalen Carter has to be Fletcher Cox in his prime. And Jordan Davis has to be Hollis Thomas. Can you imagine if you got Fletcher Cox and Hollis Thomas playing at the same time, defensive tackles? That's what that needs to look like. That needs to look like Hollis Thomas and Fletcher playing at the same time. Need 10 sacks from Carter? Yeah, because you're going to put him in a 5 and a 7 technique? Yeah. He's not playing on a 3. Well, they may, depending on the 5 front, according to John McMullen. Sliger goes, Davis is actually a really good player, and stats don't tell his story. Well, Brian Baldinger and I both said that guy was unbecoming of an Eagle uniform the last 7 weeks of the season. He had no right playing or starting or suiting up. He was out of gas, laying on the ground, laying on blockers, completely out of position, and was completely unprofessional inside the last part of the season. He was way over his rails, and that was just a poor way of playing defensive tackle. Those are Brian Baldinger's words. Brian goes, Sills, you watching this? And I go, yeah. Milton Williams should have started. Milton Williams should have started. But because he's the 13th pick and that's Howie's boy, number 9, Fredo Sirianni's got to stay out of the way. Just stay out of the way. And do me a favor on those press conferences. Don't give me some bullshit story on Tuesday and give me another one on Friday. Try to have some credibility this year. You know how you have credibility this year? Don't over-explain shit. Yes, no, we're on to Cincinnati. I think there's an art to what Belichick did. I don't know. Ask the team doctors. You think he'll be ready to go? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. How do you think he played? Well, offense needed to make better plays. We needed to have better coaching. Same shit every day for 20 years. He fed him nothing. That's what Nick needs to do. You don't have to be a rock star in Philly, dude. People have more respect for you the less you say. Get out of your own way. Over-explaining shit is the fastest way to being called a bullshit artist. Because then I think you're shady. Just get out of the way. Number 10 has to be a Nolan Smith sighting. You have to have a Nolan Smith sighting. Okay? You have to get something out of this guy. 31st pick in the draft. I mean, I saw him in mop-up duty in that Buck disaster. Okay, I guess. But I haven't seen anything. And plus, this guy here needs a couple rocks or cement bricks in his pocket. He's a little dude. This guy hopefully put on some weight, and he's got to inflict his will this year in that huddle, and he's got to show up. He's got to show up. So, to recap, Hurts, of course, has to play great. Lack of turnovers. Coordinators have to have an impact. Barkley has to be healthy. Goddard has to have a huge year. Huff has to have an impact greater than Reddick. Linebackers don't have to be spectacular, but they have to be solid. Cornerbacks, position has to play great. I don't know what that looks like yet. Carter and Davis have to have impact this year together. Get out of the way, Nick. And Nolan Smith has to have a sighting. You do all 10 of those things, you make it to a Super Bowl. You make it to a Super Bowl again. That's a lot to ask. Is it out of the realm of possibility? No. Goddard have a big year, yeah. Barkley healthy. I think that's a really big risk. Will the corner position play well? Right now, I can't say that in either way because of the youth there. The linebacking core, Vic's a pretty good coach. Will Nick get out of the way? I don't know. I don't know. All right. Philly 500 is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Please hit the like button. Really appreciate you guys here. More to go. I mean, also, Philly Godfather is going to join us at 5:30. We will talk to our friend and get his thoughts at the bottom of the hour here. Philly 500. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Val Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Appreciate you guys coming aboard. Thank you guys very much. Thanks again. I love the fact that you guys are here. Don't forget also on Monday, we are going to be off on Monday because of Memorial Day. And all of you know our story with my brother-in-law who lost his life serving our country. I raised a kid, David Stewart, and it's a great time to honor the greatest team of all time. And the greatest team of all time is the men and women that serve our country. You know, I get the ability to do this here each and every single day because why? I live in America. Hey, you know what? We have difference of opinions, but that's the greatest thing about having the ability to call yourself American because you're awarded that, to have a difference of opinion. You can't do that in other countries. No matter what your political affiliation, get this, red, white, and blue, and the men and women that serve our country, you think they're dying for Republicans only or Democrats only? They're dying for Americans. That's sacrifice. When you go into harm's way, those are the people with uncommon valor. They're running the wrong way. People don't run into fires. They run from fires. It's the greatest team of all time. Do me a favor, guys. Please hit the like button. Appreciate it very much. Also, how are you guys going to feel? How are you going to feel seeing Zach Ertz twice a year playing against your Eagles? How are you going to feel about that? Death Row South, appreciate you coming up. But Jalen Hurts needs to learn how to throw the ball out of bounds. If it's not open, he was forcing a lot of his passes in traffic last season. Death Row, that's one of the great things that he did in 2022. He would just throw the ball out of bounds. He just throw the ball out of bounds. JM goes, he's a shell of himself. I didn't ask you that. I asked you how you're going to feel about one of your legendary players walking into Lincoln Financial as a commander. You gonna cheer him? Isn't he old now? Hey, Sue, I thought Eagle legends never die. Richard goes, who gives a shit? Okay. Then you should never care about the name on the back of the jersey and only about the emblem, and stop sitting there wiping people's chins or giving bibs to certain people because it should be that's right. That's actually, Richard says, who cares? You shouldn't give a shit about Hurts. You shouldn't give a shit about AJ. You shouldn't give a shit about any of these guys. Like Kelsey, Brandon Graham, those guys are different. 10-plus year dudes, Fletcher Cox too. Try not kiss the ass of all, some of them. A JM's like, screw them. Okay. Players come and go. Okay. All right. Oh, fine. Okay. Philly 500 is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Got to hand it to the Phils. 50 games, 36 wins. Now you start opening your eyes. Don't you love it when people cover the Phillies after the first week of the season? Those guys are stupid. They are. You don't know what you have. Really kind of till after the All-Star break too, or after the 4th. That's when you really kind of know what you're looking at because that's a better sample size. 50 games is a good sample size. Starting pitching, back end of bullpen. Will they have enough? See, to me, the teams that win games with the big fly never win. Remember that Kansas City Royals team a couple of years ago that won the World Series? They didn't have big boppers. They didn't have any kind of big-time sticks in that lineup. They have phenomenal starting pitching and a Tremendous bullpen. That's how how the Rays compete in the American League East every year? You know how the Dodgers or the Braves do it in the NL East? You know how they do it? Pitching, bullpen. Players are interchangeable on the Braves. They can lose a Freeman. They don't care. It's all about pitching. That goes all the way back to John Shearholtz when he built the Braves. Mentality's never changed. Never changed. All right. Before we get into the next topic and also to our friend, Philly 500, let me show you what's going on here. And I want to show you how powerful the National Football League is as an entity in a league. And how the NFL is just, can you imagine if the NFL ever had down ratings? The NBA playoffs are now down 12%. You want to hear a stat? The NBA is down, has lost 45% of their entire audience since 2012. Half your viewership since 2012 have evaporated. Why? You're not entertaining. What makes the NFL so good? What made the NBA great when they had Jordan, Bird, Magic? You know what you had? You had villains, storylines, black, white, East Coast, West Coast, Celtics and Lakers. There's no coincidence the greatest ratings in the history of the NCAA tournament and the final tournament is still the 79 game with Magic and Larry when Indiana State played Michigan State. Still the highest rated game to this day. Black, white. Was it a perfect storm? Yes. Hey, race sells. There's a big business in it today. Race sells. Ask Caitlin Clark. Look at Eagle fan goes, NBA in the 90s was awesome. I watched it too. It was tremendous. You had villains. You had storylines. You know why baseball's ratings suck right now too? Steroid era. Bring it back. Boo, Bonds. I hate A-Rod. Villains. You had storylines. Everyone loves a villain. Patriots, villains. They were the modern day Raiders. Created rivals. New York, Boston. Philadelphia. You know what makes the NFC East so good? Eagles and Cowboys. Eagles and Cowboys. I think the Washington Cowboys in the NFL, because they went woke, Redskins and Cowboys, that series lost its power punch. Cowboys and Redskins. Commanders or the team formerly known as Prince playing the Cowboys. Somehow it doesn't have a ring to it. You know what I'm saying? Somehow that doesn't have a ring to it. The team formerly known as Prince versus the Dallas Cowboys. How does a sport like the NFL, where players wear a helmet, you don't see their face, and they're more recognizable than Mike Trout or Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper in a Minnesota mall versus Jared Goff, or I won't even name the big guys. Baker Mayfield could be spotted before they would spot Bryce Harper. 40, you've lost half your audience. Now, when you tell people to vote and you're taking knees and you're being a political arm for a political party, you get what you deserve. Remember something. You don't come here to listen to me and my stupid ass political views. You barely come here as is to listen to my sports takes. What would I possibly do to influence you when it came to who to vote for president on a sports show? Where would you have the balls as a host to inflict that on his audience with a narcissist mentality that you would actually listen to me? And if you did, you're a loser. It's crazy to think that why the NBA went down that route. It's why they've lost. Because people don't want to tune on an NBA game and have people talking about political activism in sports. I told you this, guys, years ago. One of the greatest things on the planet. Think about this one here. Lincoln Financial, 70,000 fans sit in that place, right? When you sit down, and I've told you this, when you sit down and you're watching an Eagle game, you don't go like this. Well, I can't sit in this seat because he's a Republican. You sit down because you're grateful you have a seat. You're watching your civic pride team, and you're all there as one. It's the only place that Americans can go in large amounts and masses like that and root for one entity. Your favorite local NFL team, college football team. There's very few places on the planet that are left like that. No one gives a shit what your political affiliation is. You're an Eagle fan. When you show up to Lincoln Financial. All right. I got to tell you, man, when I heard Kenny Flickett today.
Oh, God.
Kenny Flickett. Holy cow, man. Kenny Flickett is outperforming Jalen Hurts right now at the OTA. Kenny Flickett. Can you hear it? Say it with me. Kenny Flickett. There he is right there, man. Holy cow.
Flickett for another Pickett, right? How many interceptions that guy got? You don't see what's happening here, Sills.
Help me out here, Philly 500.
You don't see the genius in Howie Roseman. This is all propaganda orchestrated by the most genius GM in the National Football League. That's right. This is a plan to build up the stock of one Kenny Pickett because he flicked it and get him for a nice second-round pick later on in the year. How about that? How about that?
So you're saying...
yeah.
You're saying the propaganda machine is in full force now.
That's right.
And that they're going, oh, my God, look how great. Actually, I actually like it. Okay, so they're building this kid up. Hurts is going to, oh, my God, this guy's great. And so when the trading deadline comes
right,
and a team needs a quarterback because there's an emergency issue, you're saying your boy Roseman and Associates go out and they put this guy out there.
In the National Football League. Yes. Let me tell you, man, this guy is so smart. He's got rallies in Dallas, Texas tonight. 25,000 people come out to see Howie Roseman in Dallas with his geniusness. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, so Flickett's
listen,
Hurts, though.
No, listen, I think it's ridiculous to talk about Kenny Pickett outperforming him in OTAs on one day where they have the media there. He made a couple throws that people liked. I think it's ridiculous to say he's outperforming him in that situation. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous to saying that how he's orchestrating the whole thing. I don't put much stock into either of it. All
right. Let's move on from Kenny Flickett.
Hey, Flexen, shut up.
Hey, 500. How about this one? What did you make of the Miami players crying about Vic Fangio this week and saying he's a horrible guy?
Yeah, I'll be honest. that concerns me a little bit more than the whole Kenny Pickett thing. I'm not saying that I think it's bringing itself to Philly or the players in Philly have that, have a problem with him. But, when you do hear players had a problem with a guy, you do wonder why. You don't want to see that happen here. But then I think about Miami. I think, there might be a reason why they couldn't beat a team with a winning record. So I don't know. I mean, but it does make me raise my eyes a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
Kenny Foles Pickett. Hey, can you see it? Kenny Foles Pickett. Holy cow, flicking it in the postseason. When
Flick it for another
pick this year.
Listen,
Wow.
I can close my eyes and I can see a lot of different things happening. The one thing I can't see is Hurts getting benched for Kenny Pickett. I just can't see that.
All right. How about this?
You don't even believe that.
I don't.
You don't even believe it.
I can't lie to you, man.
Doesn't that guy have tiny hands or something? Like real small hands?
Yeah, small hands Pickett. All cigars look big in his hands. Hey, so what about your boy AJ Owens showing up at a Harley at a bike charity event?
Beautiful.
For autism. Genius. I mean, this guy's got a motorized scooter.
Genius. I would have done the same thing.
Man.
Listen, I would have done the same thing. My day off. Why am I going to be pedaling? I'm going to be on that motorized scooter. They didn't have those things when I was growing up. You had to pedal. You were lucky to get a 10-speed that could change it on a slope so it was easier to pedal.
You show up to a charity bike event
I have no problem
on a Harley. I mean,
I have
come
no.
on,
Hey, listen.
man.
Hey, listen. I show up to one of those electric vehicle gatherings in a big Escalade, guzzling gas. You know what I mean? I have no problem with it at all. What's the difference? Who cares if he's pedaling or not?
That guy's such a showman. I mean, he's such a showman.
I said, what a genius. I would have done the same thing.
All right, here. I wrote, okay, I'm going to concede to you, Philly, 10 things, and I just went over this with everyone, and I wanted to go, oh, by the way, before I do that, so here, let me throw this number at you. And look, nothing with Cap, nothing with anything. Hurts 50, running back 10, wide receiver 32, wide receiver 18, left guard 20, right tackle 15, left tackle 15, tight end 15, the right guard 3, the wide receiver 3. You got $180 million on one side of the ball. I mean, dude, you got the most expensive offense in NFL history.
Yeah. What's the problem with that?
I mean, shit, dude. I mean, it's Super Bowl or bust when you're spending all your cap money.
Well,
it's not cap money.
Yeah.
It's not cap money.
Yeah.
It's just the paycheck.
Yeah.
That's a whole different conversation when you're talking cap. $175 million in 11 players?
Yeah. I mean, it's the way it works out. I mean, would you rather than be the Dallas Cowboys and have no players, but your quarterback's got all that money? I don't know. I mean, they got to sign. You got to sign who you're going to sign, and you got to have who you're going to have. I mean, I don't see a problem with it. What I think is that if you don't take advantage of it and use it to rebuild your defense and allow these young guys to play, like if you have Mitchell sitting there not playing and DeJean not playing, these guys go through a whole year not playing, then I think it's a waste. Take advantage of it. I mean, look at Kansas City a few years ago, how they rebuilt their defense. They let those young guys play. And then in their second year, they started really playing well. To me, that's the reason why you have the offense that you have. So take advantage of it. If they don't take advantage of it, then it is a waste. But to me, it's all how they use it to build their team going forward.
I got 10 things here. And I'll concede to you. You get to the Super Bowl, here's the 10 things that I want to see. And maybe if you want to add one that you'd like to see. Of course, Hurts has to play like he did in 22. And you know what that means to me too? Philly, I don't know about you. I don't really think it's about volume of numbers. I think it's about taking away the turnovers. And what I mean by that is, hey, look, if he had 25 touchdowns, throwing the ball in 7 picks, and another 10 rushing, that puts him back in the 22 room again, doesn't it?
Yeah, probably does. Yeah.
So obviously he's a no-brainer. How about this one? The coordinators have to have an impact this year. I mean, they have to be big, right? I mean, you have to notice these, and I dare say it, they have to have the impact of what Gannon and Steichen did if they're going to get to the Super Bowl. Do you agree?
I agree. I think that's the key thing. I mean, I think definitely, especially when you look at what happened last year, I think the coaches could not stop the bleeding with this team. And I really think they were a big part of why we collapsed. So, yeah, they've got to be a huge part of it. I totally agree.
Do you like, let me throw this at you here. I threw this when it came to my Big Sills 22 for the Eagles. I threw this out there. How about this secondary? Gardner Johnson, DeJean at safety, Isaiah Rodgers in the slot, corners Mitchell and Slay.
Exactly how I would. That's exactly how I wanted to play out. That's exactly how I wanted to play out, because then you got Mitchell and you got DeJean on the field. Now, I would let DeJean play safety, get used to it. And then I'm going to play him inside the slot at times too. And eventually I'm going to have DeJean to the point where he can play anywhere on the secondary. So one week I need him to match up somebody on the outside, he's going to be able to do it. 1 week I need him to play the tight end, he can do it. Like, I want him to be like a Swiss Army knife down the road. But I think the quickest way to get him on the field is to let him play at safety for his rookie year. I agree.
How about this one, like JM just said? Then you have Sidney Brown and Ringo when they get with the depth that you have, and you have Reed Blankenship. See, to me, you know you're going to have a good safety, and I agree with you. You know you're going to have a good back end if Reed Blankenship is your third safety.
Right.
He can't be a starter, right? I mean, I can't. Yeah, there's days I like him. There's days I don't.
I take a lot of heat for this because I don't look at him as an impact safety. I think he's a good depth piece. I think he could start if you need him to start some games. But to me, he doesn't change anything. Not to the level like what I think DeJean could do. So I agree with you. I do. I don't dislike him. I just don't look at him as like in 4 or 5 years, I don't think he's starting on your team as a safety. You know what I mean?
Do you think they're waiting until next week to cut Bradbury?
I go back and forth on this. I don't know, because part of me feels like you kind of got to, right? Because it just looks like they got too many defensive backs. And here's the other thing I'll say. I think a lot of it depends on where you play Isaiah Rodgers. If you're sticking Isaiah Rodgers on the outside, then Bradbury's probably gone. But if he's on the outside, then you're essentially sitting Mitchell, because I think Rodgers is a solid cornerback in this league. I think the key to the whole thing is got to slide Rodgers inside, and then you cut Bradbury. But I go back and forth. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with him. I really don't. I would cut him.
It's
I would get rid of him.
It's 4.3 of a hit on the cap after June 1.
I would try to trade him. I'd say, listen, give me a 2042 7th round pick in 2050. I don't care. Just get rid of him. That's what I would
with
try
a sixth or 7th round pick. You get enough of those picks. You parlay them up like how we did this last year for a 4th rounder.
Right.
And you move into that 4th round. If you like, then they have like multiple 5th round picks that he traded away so that he could get better picks the following season. That's how you do that. You know what? I thought some of the best things that he did, Howie, was the way that he used those 5th round picks, trading them up for the following year to get higher volume picks, like in the 3rd round or in the 4th round. Right. I thought that was really good stuff in what he did.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I totally agree with you.
Number 4, Goddard has to have a huge year, dude. I mean, he's got to. I mean, what of all the time, he's no Zach Ertz. I mean,
Right.
and get this, I think he has the potential to be better, but I just haven't seen it.
He's got to stay healthy. I mean, that's to me first and foremost. He's got to be able to stay on the field. He always misses significant time, and it always seems like it derails whatever season he's got going. So, if he could stay healthy, maybe he could play. But I think you're right. I think he needs to be on the field.
Now, what's your expectations of Bryce Huff this year?
Giant, I don't know. It's a giant, I don't know. My biggest question mark on this defense is the edge rushers and those guys, because he had one good year where he had 10 plus sacks. He's either a guy who is just breaking out and going to give you that, or he's a one-year wonder, and we don't really know. So I have a giant question mark about him. I have a giant question mark about Nolan Smith, and we don't know what we got in those guys. And it's a question mark. That's why I would never have traded Hassan Reddick. I would have gotten rid of him. Because
here's the thing too, Philly, say he equals Reddick at 11. Let's just say, in which he's never have, and he had a 10 sack year last year. He did, but 11 was Reddick, and he missed the first. He had problems in the first 4 weeks because of the hand injury and the cast. And then what they did at the end with the miscoaching and how they mismanaged his ability and how they didn't put him in a proper skill set to be successful. Okay, let's just say he covers Reddick's 10 sacks. You're still not upgrading your pass rush. I mean,
Right.
That guy's got to give you more at 18.5, doesn't he?
Well, I mean, I think you need 10 plus sacks just to kind of eat up what Reddick gave you, and we knew what Reddick was going to give you. So yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to imagine or assume that he could go out there and get 15, 16 sacks. It's hard to see that. I'll be happy with 10. I think what you have to get is you have to get production from multiple players. So, you have to get 10 sacks from him, but Nolan Smith needs to show me something. He needs to go out and get 8, 9, 10 sacks himself. He's a first-round pick. I'm not letting him off the hook this year. I'm just not.
So there has to be that's number 10. Nolan Smith, there has to be a Nolan Smith sighting this year, right?
Yeah, because listen, if you're not getting production from those edge rushers, I think you're going to have to go out and make a move before the trade deadline. I do think a lot of it is going to be what we get inside from Carter and Jordan Davis, but those guys got to step up. I think it's fair to question our edge rushers this year. I do, because I just don't understand the Hassan Reddick thing. He was under contract one more year. You had him. You could have rotated Huff in with him all year, and you could have worked him in that way. And then you could have let Reddick go after getting a full year of Huff on the field. So, it's one of those head scratchers. Of all the things they did right, and I loved a lot of the stuff, that's the one move that makes me go, I just don't get it.
Would you think of doing this at the trading deadline? They didn't put another year on Max Crosby's deal. They gave him more money for the 14.5 sacks. Would you give a first rounder up for Max Crosby and go out and get him? It's because the Raiders got to remember something.
How old is Crosby? How old is he?
That I don't know. Okay. I mean, I can't think is he 30?
If he's 28 or younger, I would consider it. I'd say if he's 30, I'm not giving up a first.
How about the Hendrickson kid from Cincinnati? He's demanded a trade. He's in OTAs.
Yeah, I don't. Cincinnati's always a pain in the butt to deal with. They're always a pain in the butt. I would consider it. I mean, I think you're going to have to do something, on that line if you're not getting production. I mean, best case scenario, what you want is Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter are who they are. Or they come out, they play like first-round picks. If you're getting that and that push up the middle, I think it'll set everything else up on the outside. Josh Sweat's got to return to form. And if you have those three things happen, then I think Nolan Smith or Huff have to show up. And if one of them do, I think you're at least where you were a year ago. And if you get both of them, then you're better off. But giant question mark.
Max Crosby's 26.
Yeah, I would do it then. I would consider it.
How about this one here, number 6, linebacking core? You know what? I'm going to relent on this. I don't think they have to be spectacular.
Mhm.
I don't even think they have to be great. I just think they have to be solid.
Hey, you sound like me. You sound like what I was saying last time I was on. Yeah.
Just be solid in the middle in there. You
agree.
can't be the worst linebacking core in the NFC East, which they
I-
are right now.
I think Devin White, I know you have your problems with him, but I really believe in my heart that him just being on this team is an improvement from a year ago. Okay. One of the big mistakes they made was letting Edwards go. And for what it cost the Bears to sign him, we should have just re-signed him. But I believe he's better than what we had last year. So yeah, I think if they can just be solid, we'll be fine.
How about this? Prince brought this up today about Devin White, and I think it is a point. You know what's funny about him? And I had a high evaluation of him last year, and so did a lot of people, but I think the business end of football got in his way. And what I mean by that is, you got to remember something. In his second year, he was the captain of a Super Bowl defensive football team with Todd Bowles. He was aiming in the right direction where he was going to be a fixture in this league. And all of a sudden, the business of football, I think, Philly 500, I think it got in his way here. And I think what it did was he quit on them. And then to turn around, the Bucs ended up quitting on him. And it was a really awful thing. And that's what you're hearing people say now at OTAs. He looks rejuvenated, a little bit.
Yeah.
He looks like he's running around there with a purpose because his NFL life is on the line here. So, I have a problem with a guy who's not mentally tough to overcome adversity a little bit.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think if you look at the way his play kind of like fizzled out, it seemed like it was when he wanted his contract extension, didn't get it, asked for a trade. I mean, I literally did videos on it. And I remember sitting there going, when he was in the Super Bowl playing, I was like, man, why can't we got to find a linebacker like that? Like, that's how you looked at him. So I know he's got the talent in there. And it's not like he's 32. He's not Shaq Leonard, right? Where he's older. He's 26. So I'm hoping, and I think the Eagles are betting that, one, he gets a fresh new start somewhere where he's got no problems. He's in a contract year. So he can make as much money as possibly, he can get. I mean, he's just got to go out and play well. He'll get a big contract if he goes out and play. Maybe not with the Eagles, but he'll get big money. So to me, everything is set up for him to succeed. If I don't believe, put it this way, I don't believe that his issues have been physical and that he can't play. I believe they're all upstairs too. And I believe that coming to Philly, getting a fresh new start. I mean, you heard at OTAs, he looked great, breaking up passes, things like that. So, I mean, it's OTAs. You can only put so much into it, but so far, so good. I like him. I like it.
Number 7 here, a couple last ones here. What are your expectations on the cornerback position? Whatever that looks like, because right now, like you said, we don't know with Bradbury. We don't know. It looks like they have some depth now. We'll find out who's going to be. I think this Cooper DeJean has a chance actually to be more impactful than Quinyon Mitchell because you could put him on the field more and put him in multiple positions. So, I mean, but how do you look at that corner position playing out?
I think that it should be better just on the coaches that we brought in. I think that they'll be better in that way. I think CJ Gardner-Johnson being there also is going to help them a lot. But to me, it's really going to depend on whether you give the young guys a chance. For me, it's all about not just about this year, but it's about getting those guys in and getting them reps because I want those guys to be playing, in the playoffs. I want them to be going into year 2. People got to remember, DeJean doesn't have that extra year on his contract that Mitchell has. So the sooner you can get him on the field, the better. You don't want him to wait till his second year, and then he's learning, then he's in his third year, and you got to judge everything on 1 year to give him an extension. I want him on the field. I want both those guys on the field. So to me, how I judge the secondary is really going to be like, are those young guys playing and contributing? I don't need to see more Bradbury. I don't even need to see more Slay. Not that I like them, but I want those young guys to play. That, to me, is my main thing.
I said this about Carter and Davis. I want to see Jalen Carter in the prime of Fletcher Cox, and I want to see Jordan Davis be a Hollis Thomas. Can you imagine if those two guys played together like Fletcher Cox and Hollis Thomas, what your interior would be? If those two dudes end up putting you and giving you that kind of performance, I think that has to be essential for them to get to the Super Bowl.
I think it's the essential part of that defense. Like, if those guys are not playing well, I think everything we talked about, the linebackers, the secondaries, even the edge rushers, I think it's all going to be a problem. Those guys have to show up and be ready to play, both of them. They have to. And I think Jalen Carter, I talked about this in a video earlier, I think he's going to have a monster year. I think Jalen Carter is going to be really, really good this year.
Finally, Nick's got to get out of the way. Just stay out of the way, dude. I mean, and you know what? That sounds easier than said, because, you get out to a 1-3, man. Say, hypothetically, you get out to a 1-3, even a 2-2. They're going to be screaming for your head in Philly if he gets out to a 2-2. He's going to want to get involved because, hey, everyone wants to save their job when the boat's going down. I mean, you're going to look for a lifeboat, dude. You're going to do whatever. Hey, when you're on the Titanic and the Titanic's going down, you're throwing people out of the lifeboat and getting in one. I mean, is he going to get out of the way?
I don't. I look like, it's like my father used to say growing up. At the dinner table, kids should be seen and not heard. You know what I mean? And that's what we need from Nick Sirianni. Let them be seen but not heard. Just stay away from game planning. Stay away from all of it, and smile for the cameras. That's about it. That's all I need from him.
You ready?
Yeah.
Kenny, flick it. Kenny, flick it. Right there, baby.
Flick it for the picket. Nah.
There's Kenny Flick it, outperforming and outplaying Jalen. Look at that.
Jesus.
Hey, man, look at that. By the way, let me have one last question here for you. Why do all of you Eagle fans and everybody in Philly have amnesia? And why are you giving people the benefit of the doubt on the nuclear meltdown, and that all of a sudden this guy's going to turn it around? Did you forget what happened?
Are we talking about Nick Sirianni?
I'm talking about all of them. Why do you give them the benefit?
I have no choice. I have no choice. I would have fired. I said I would have moved on from Nick Sirianni. I didn't think there was any recovering from that. I guess, you know what it is? It was so insane, so historical, and so crazy. You don't think it possibly could happen again. I think that's what it was. It was just like, it seems like it was one of those freak things.
I've never seen anything like it.
I haven't either. And I would have fired the coach because of it, because I just don't know how you recover. And if you look at the way, in my opinion, if you look at Nick Sirianni this offseason, I don't think he looks comfortable. Just the body language to him at the press conference. I just, I
you mean slapping Howie's ass too? But
it's like, it's like, hey, good job. I was over here in the corner taking a nap. Now we're on the clock, But if you looked at the combine, he looked uncomfortable. Some of the I mean, that's just my opinion. Maybe I'm looking too much into it. I hate that the meltdown happened. I hate the collapse happened. But I mean, we did pretty much clean house with every other coach. And to me, that was the main issue.
You still kept the skunk in the building that was dead, though.
Yeah, well, that's, I think
it's still there.
Here's why they did it. The only reason I think they kept Nick Sirianni was because they didn't want to look bad right? You just fired Doug Peterson a few years ago after winning a Super Bowl, going to 3 straight. Now you're going to fire a guy that took you to Super Bowl the year before. It makes them look bad. So they didn't want to fire him. I mean, we did hear reports that they talked to Belichick, so I don't know what it means. Listen, I don't know. I don't know how you recover from a collapse like that. But they chose to keep him, and now we'll see what he has and how much control. I don't think there's any coincidence they brought in Fangio and Kellen Moore, 2 guys with experience. Look at all the coaches that they hired. Defensive line coach, right, was a defensive coordinator. Everybody's coming in with experience. So I think that was really the big problem. Was I don't think that the coaches knew how to stop the bleeding when they started to lose.
Kenny Flickett, get a shirt. It's Flickett season.
I don't know. I don't know what to think. I think Howie must be Howie is. He's calculating the calculations of the cornbread, and he is going to get a 2nd-round pick for Kenny Pickett. They're building him up.
Mark Holmes ran from you. Well, you beat him up.
Yeah, what's up with that, man? I haven't heard from him.
You beat him up so bad he ran.
I double moonwalked that ass. I haven't heard from him in like a week. I really think that we need to get like a EMT group, like, to be with him during live streams this year, because I don't think this guy is going to make it. I don't think he's going to make it through the year.
I'm about ready to go to like the Virginia area and get on a milk carton. Have you seen Mark Holmes? I mean,
he's missing.
Yeah, I mean, a big old ass or like an Amber Alert or something, and put him on a billboard.
What happened? He told you he couldn't come on no more. What did he do?
I know. I mean, we had him earmarked for 3:30 every Wednesday. And after you kick the shit out of him, all of a sudden now this guy's like in witness protection.
Yeah, he's hiding out. That's, he's delusional. I watched, he did like 9 videos yesterday, and every other one's about Dak Prescott and why it's not Dak's fault, why it's everybody else's fault. And then he goes off on a tangent about other quarterbacks in the league. He goes off about Lamar Jackson not winning in the playoffs. Like, dude, Dak Prescott doesn't win the playoffs. What are you talking about Lamar Jackson for? He's an MVP player.
And Dak loses to Jordan Love. Lamar loses to Patrick Mahomes. There's a difference, dude. I mean,
yeah,
you're losing to Joe Burrow. You're losing to Josh Allen. You're losing to players like that. Those guys are all good. When you lose to Jared Goff and you're losing to like Jordan Love and Baker Mayfield, there's a problem with you, Dak. Dude, you know what? I will never in a million years defend that guy. I think he's a great dude. He seems like a great guy. But when it comes to winning in the postseason, he ain't it.
Can't do it. Yeah,
are you giving him $60 million?
No, God, no. No, he can't win. He can't win the big games. I don't think Dallas wants it. Like, I'm convinced that they had to, the way they've handled the offseason, where they haven't even tried to fix his contract. Like, you can't tell me the writing's not on the wall that they want to cut ties with the guy anyways. So to me, I wouldn't pay him. No, he can't win the playoffs, Sills. He can't win when it matters. At some point, it doesn't matter how good you are in the regular season. When you get 8-9 years in, it doesn't matter about the regular season. You have to win in the playoffs. He doesn't do that.
That's where your legacy is built, is in the postseason. All right, homie, tell people how they can find you.
Just type in Philly 500 or the guy that needs a diet, and it'll come right up.
that might be both of us. Homie, thank you so much, man.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate you always finding time for me. And if you see that guy, no Holmes, let me know, man. I mean, does he need an apology? Does he? I mean, I don't know what happened to the guy. He just like these guys beat this. You and hey, Twiz, I want to say this to you, Twiz. Kiss my ass. That's your guy. Your guy ended up being a cowardly lion. Come on, man. Twiz, that's your boy. Get him on. He's gonna be great.
I don't know where he is.
Now he runs and hides. Philly 500 kicked the shit out of him, and he's gone for good. He's like in a mental rehab. Hey, I can't take Philly 500. He kicked the shit out of me for 2 weeks in a row. 500, I love you, man. I'll talk to you soon, brother.
Love you, man. Bye.
You got it. Philly 500, man. Absolutely fantastic. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. Keep it here. National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Is the best vacation one that you find, or one you get lost in? One that takes you to new heights, or reminds you to go with the flow? To get your feet wet and your wheels spinning? One that lets you find your own rhythm, or get carried away? Find the best of yourself. Get lost in the woods. Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction. Go with trust.
Go Birds!
And go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
Listen, if we even think you owe us money, you won't know what hit you. We'll put liens on everything you own. Raid your bank accounts, retirement fund, pension. You'll open up your paycheck and cry because we'll already have the money. We'll haul you into federal court and you might even go to jail. Hey, it's our job.
Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. Our experts will fight for you using IRS guidelines to stop any IRS actions like bank levies or wage garnishments. Plus, eliminate penalties and interest and reduce your past tax bill so you pay the IRS less. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a tax doctor now for a tax emergency analysis.
I'd have my mom call the number on the screen. You come see me alone. We'll work it out.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. Please hit the like button. The only show where energy never leaves. Honestly. Hey, man. Hey. We had a guy type in earlier. By the way, 500, thank you, babe. You're awesome, man. Appreciate it. He really is awesome. And it's really a great relationship that we have here with him and how he comes on the program. And absolutely brings a lot, has a great fan base, talks to the Eagle fans. And that's what we like talking to, too. He's a fan. And so it's awesome to have him aboard with us here, too. So we so look forward to touching base with him. Somebody chimed in earlier, and they put in the chat there, they go, Sills, WIP and 97.5 were just unlistenable today. I'm so happy and glad that, you're here with us. Dude, vice versa. You know what makes this show and what we're doing here at JAKIB easy? Just be yourselves. We're not trying to fool anybody, or I'm not. I never have. I'm not the greatest sports talk host of all time. You know what I am? There ain't nobody like me. Because I've learned one thing from you guys. People always go, you know what the first thing I could have done to you guys? Hey, I'm an Eagle fan. That's bullshit. You all know you see through that shit. You're not an Eagle fan. Actually, you know what's really different about me even when I was younger? I was never really a team fan. I rooted for the Giants because my uncle played there. And he's a Hall of Famer with the New York Giants, Andy Robustelli. So I was kind of a Giant fan, but not really. Me and my pop would watch the Giants. You know, that's why when I tell people go like this, Sills, Eagles and Cowboys. I'm like, no, not for me, man. It's Eagles and Giants. That was my rivalry when I grew up, was Eagles and Giants, not Cowboys and Eagles. So for you, it's probably different. Okay, I mean, so I get it. So, but we're not trying to fool anybody. I've never done that. Actually, I tried to do that when I first got on the air in San Francisco. You know, my wife did. She was my producer. She sat there, looked at me, and goes, "What in the world was that?" And I was like, "Oh, what?" She goes, "That's nothing that you even remotely are close to being." So I figured this out. The closer I'm more to me, the more I resonate with you. And that's how I've always been able to connect for 35 years. This is, the more I'm closer to me, which is flaws. Do I say stupid shit? Yes. Okay. Do I step on my own? You know what? Yes. Guilty. But you know one thing it is? It's genuine. You know, when you're on the air for 35, 40 years, you're going to say some fucked up shit sometimes. You're gonna. When you're on the air for like 2 minutes, you're not. And you're guarded. Especially in today. Especially in today's media. You got to be guarded in what you say. And that's why there's not very many good people any longer. And that's why everybody's in podcasting now. You think there's a reason why Pat McAfee's dropping F-bombs on ESPN Live? You know what's crazy? Joe's in the building too. How about this? That guy, Pat McAfee, has said more in a 1-hour show or 2-hour show that they air live on their network than I have in 35 years on the air. I have never said more offensive. He says more offensive things than anything I've ever said in 35 years. But you pick one thing I may have said 14 years ago. I did say it. For me, too. Giants and Cowboys, Washington and Cowboys. Yeah, that's how I grew up, too, Mitch. That was my rivalry. Thank you, Mitch. That was totally my rivalry. My rivalry was Giants and Eagles. Giants and Eagles, Raiders and Dolphins. I'm showing my age. At one time, the Raiders were great. You know, the Raiders had the highest win percentage of any team in the National Football League for like 30 years. No one had a higher winning percentage. John Madden had a 741 win percentage. The Raiders never lost on Monday night. They had some streak going. Once they got in the courtroom, what happened? Ruined their business. I like Chris Long. All right. You know what we're going to do now? I am going to give you the Big Sills top 22 rankings of your top 22 players. And I'm going to rank best to worst starters and how I see your roster right now. Before I do it, who do you think the best player on the Eagles is right now? One thing I could say about you, Sills, is that every time I come back to this show, I learn something new about you and your storytelling. Devontae, I was talking to Xander prior to the program. You know, the greatest lesson I ever got, Devontae, for 5 years, I don't even know if Joe knows this. For 5 years, I used to go down to West Palm, and I would spend a week with Limbaugh. The guy who found Limbaugh, his name is Gabe Hobbs and Randy Michaels. These are my mentors who found me and started me at JCore Broadcasting. I'm a JCore guy. JCore is Hannity, Rush, me, Laura, Rome. All those guys are all JCore guys. Randy Michaels, Gabe Hobbs, couple other guys, Craig Kitchen. They all found us. And they found me in San Francisco. They found Glenn Beck in New Haven. Glenn Beck was spinning rock and roll top 40 records in New Haven. And he and I worked together down at 970 WFLA in Tampa. And I was doing a split shift. I was doing afternoon progressive talk news, and I was doing my morning show on WDAE. And after Mark Larson left, they brought Glenn Beck in. And Glenn Beck and I were sitting there, and he's like, I don't even know what I'm doing. So he starts watching me. And so Glenn Beck's taking notes. He goes, they're going to fire me. They're going to fire. I go, they're not going to fire you. Not with Gabe around. Gabe became my agent. Gabe was at J-Core iHeart then, or it was J-Core Clear Channel, then iHeart. And he was there 25 years. And he set me down, and I'm sitting there listening to Rush Limbaugh do a show. He had a studio in his house at West Palm. And I brought Glenn Beck with me once to go down there and watch. And Gabe set me down there, and I'm watching Rush do a show. And he goes, read me the Miami Herald. So I read him the Miami Herald. By the way, I didn't give a shit about his politics. I only cared about his radio. All the people you mentioned are controversial. Well, all the people that I mentioned are needle movers. Prince, they're all needle movers. Big Sills, when Irvin or Sapp come on. Michael Irvin's already been on. We'll try to get him on. Me and Sapp have problems. We do, and I don't like to talk shit on any hurricane. So we'll get Michael on again. He's going through some personal family issues. He's been on before. We'll do it again. So I'm reading the Miami Herald to Rush. He goes, now watch me read it. I was like this. Shit. All the things I thought I knew about radio, hey, Rush, I have 50 callers a day. They call into the show. You know what he said to me? So you're a traffic cop on your own show? I went, well, you know those shows on IP that have all those callers call in? That's the dumbest shit you can have. You know what's different with this? You guys show me through content what's important to you. That's the difference. But when you're on the radio, I was like, I got 50 callers a day in the morning, 3-hour show. And he's like, you're a traffic cop? And I was like, no, well, so they dictate your show for you in the direction of your show? I went like this. No, well, he goes, callers dictate your show. Sometimes you guys take me off the rails. Got to bring it back. I watched him do that. I left that place going like this. I don't know dick about broadcasting. And right then and there, I knew, hey, man, I'm the tree. The guests are the Christmas balls. Delivering content is the king and key to doing a show. It's not about being right. You don't want to get off the reservation, but it's about entertaining and having a theme. That's how I was taught. I was taught by Rush Limbaugh with content. Maybe you can get Ray the week of the Ravens-Eagles. Yeah, we'll do that. Terrell Suggs, too. 119 likes. Let's go, guys. Got to get that bad puppy up. All right. So who do you guys think is the best Philadelphia Eagle? I'll get Ed Reed on. Who's the best Eagle? Shaq says A.J. Owens. Jalen Carter. Seals, before ranking, what's Nick's biggest problem? One, his coaching. Allows upstairs to affect his coaching. Game plan. James. His honesty. His loyalty. Coaching at times can be the most overrated thing on the planet. But if you don't trust your boss or he's not honest with you, you're not going to perform for him. I don't care what kind of savant he is drawing me up X's and O's. You can't come out in a press conference on a freaking Monday and go, I got every coach in the building I need, and on Friday, you're firing the fucker. Then you get into a position where you got a guy and it's how he got the job too. Hey, you got to walk around on your Howie knee pads. Doug refused. You don't want to do that. You know what they tell you? Here's the parameters of the gig. You've got to do basically what Roger Goodell does for 32 owners. You know what that is? Die on the sword. That's his problem. He's got an honesty issue. That's an honesty. The lies. We tried to get it pass interference up in Seattle, so we threw it. And the players were like, no, he didn't. That was made up. Making the players walk back. When Jalen Hurts is saying we're not connected in the locker room, and then on a Wednesday I'm hearing walk back because the propaganda machine, the Langsters are over there with the Eagles because they don't like the messaging. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. That organization is one of the only organizations I've ever seen when they don't like the languaging that's going on and how you're characterizing their organization. They have a hissy fit and a shit fit with you. They come after my ass every day. Little old Dan. And you. Damn. Talk about petty. Grow a pair, dude. Did that same shit in San Francisco. I know who you are. The PR guy that they got did that shit in San Francisco. The only problem was I knew Ed DeBartolo. Couldn't get in my way with him. And Carmen. Hey, don't tell that story, do you? Eddie D would go, no, I went up to dinner with him. The guy didn't like it. Always thought I got in the way. Yeah, you know what? Hey, dude, guess what? Yeah. Roseman and Associates. I'm going to give you my top 22. Here we go. Here are the top 22 Philadelphia Eagles according to Big Sills. Number 1, I got A.J. Brown. As much shit as I give the guy, sorry. One thing you guys know about me, I may give the guy a ton of shit. And to what Xander says sometimes, hey, Sills, I think you give the guy shit because he reminds you, he reminds you of yourself. And I don't know, maybe a little bit. Showing up to a charity bike ride on a Harley. Not really. A motorized scooter or whatever the thing was. There's something about the guy that, okay, a little bit. Maybe a little bit. You know what? I'm not going to lie to you. I think some of the shit that I have with Howie is that he's a Gator. And I think that does rub me the wrong way. Because there's not very many Gator people I dig. And I don't really like that many of them folks. I can't wait until the Sileo Roseman Bowl on August 31st in Shittsville, Florida, or Gainesville, whatever they call that thing. versus UF. We used to play that game, the opener, every year. Oh, man. That was so great. Going up there and kicking the shit out of them. God, I loved it. Number 2. Who would you have as the second best Philadelphia Eagle? Who's the second best Eagle? I think this is going to surprise you where I go. Who's the second best Eagle? Smitty for you, Lane, Carter. I'll do one more. Devontae, says Senor. I got Jordan Mailata. Protecting the flank, protecting the blind side. I think he's the best athlete on your football team. 6'8", 375 pounds. The guy runs like a deer. I've never seen anything like that. It's like Shaq playing left tackle. And 6 years ago, he didn't even know how to play football. He never even put a helmet on. And right now, he's considered the third best left tackle in the sport. I think Jordan Mailata is going to be a superstar. Number 3, I got Lane Johnson. It's a privilege to watch Lane Johnson play football. I would never let any man tell me what I can say, especially some guy running the news report like Bob Lang. It's exhausting dealing with him. Lane Johnson is a privilege to watch. It's just a privilege to watch. Probably second ballot Hall of Famer. Just tremendous. Not a lot of right tackles in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But there's a lineage now that the Eagles are starting to, there's two positions that Philadelphia is really known for: tight ends and offensive linemen. And it's becoming apparent the guys that you've had in the building over the last 25 years have been, look at how many Hall of Fame guys that you could, John Runyon is going to get conversation about being a Hall of Famer. He's going to get thoughts. Kelsey's going in. Jason Peters is going into the Hall of Fame. Could Mailata be one day? Maybe. Lane's going in one day. Right. Keith Jackson was a phenomenal tight end in Philly. Number 4, Big Sale's top 22. From your starters, best Eagles. I got Landon Dickerson. Highest paid left guard, highest paid guard in the NFL. Got him in the second round. Dude, you talk about a value pick? Shit. If you put Landon Dickerson in a draft today and you are looking at what he is, he's a top 5 pick. That is a phenomenal. Here, look what's crazy here. Jordan Mailata, you got in the 7th round. Landon Dickerson, you got in the second round. That's insanity. Insane. Third best tackle in the sport. Highest paid guard in the sport. Value picks, grand slams. Grand slam picks. Number 5, maybe the best pro on the team, Devontae Smith. Xander, big Alabama guy, right? I'll never forget when we started. I think Joe put me on 3 years ago, April 26th, something like that. First thing Xander asked me, he says, "What do you think of Devontae?" I go, "He's a shrimp. He's a little guy. He's in the wrong team." That's a pro power running attack. That's what it was at the time in 21. And I'm like, he's on the wrong team. This guy's a possession receiver. This guy's going to get broken up like Balso would. He's a shrimp. Man, has he turned me out to be wrong. This guy's a tremendous route runner. He's a phenomenal pro. He's a humble dude. And that contract that he signed, I'll tell you this, man. He took a gigantic haircut to play in Philly. over the deal is going to average 18.4. Why in the world would he sign after what St. Brown got with $32 million or $30 million? And you still got Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase yet to sign. And he doesn't care. He took what he wanted, felt comfortable with himself and where he is, and he did kind of a Cooper Kupp deal. Cooper Kupp could have got more money in the open market if he went out after that tremendous year in that Super Bowl MVP year. He could have got a ton more. He could have got a ton more money. But you know what he said? There's a price that you have to sacrifice for peace of mind. Chasing the bag of money, I'm not saying those guys are wrong doing that. But he put a price on peace of mind. Good for him. Put a price on peace of mind. Tremendous pro. Number 6. I put Jalen Hurts here. I may not like the style. You can't overlook this. 9, 14. You can't overlook 33 wins. Just can't. I don't care how I want to slice that up. 33 wins, NFC championship in 3 years. Every year he's been Pro Bowl consideration. I don't know, man. Hey, it's not how I want it to look. But let's do this. Let's look at the resume. Resumes matter. Because I tell you this about Jared Goff. Jared Goff's resume matters. It matters. Number 7. I probably have this guy ranked too high, but this is what I think of his skill set. I got Dallas Goedert here. I think the guy's really a good player. I just think he misses 25% of his career every season. He has missed 25% of his career since he's been an Eagle. And I know some of you go, forearm sills, ankle sills. I know every year it's something that misses. And he misses games in critical times of the year too. Stretch run. It's almost like he's fatigued at the end of the year, or his body gets fatigued at the end of the year, and he gets hurt towards the end of the year. There's one common theme in all of his injuries, it seems. They're later. And when they need him the most. I'm with you, Barb. Barb's like, I'm losing my patience with him. I've really lost it with him. Because I think he hurts his development, not being there more than anyone. The other guys are performing. Who's the one guy that underachieves? Dallas Goedert. You know why he's underachieving? Look at where you drafted him. Was he a second-round pick? Was he a second-round pick? He's second round, and he's $15 million. Come on, man. It's underachieving. Number 8. I got Saquon Barkley here. Has Saquon Barkley lived up to the number 2 pick since he came out of Penn State? No. Is it the Giants? Yes. Is it coaching? Yes. Is it organization? Dave Gettleman? Blue. Worst GM the Giants have had in decades. Just the worst GM they've had in decades. I mean, that's an organization that had Jerry Reese, George Young, people working with Coughlin and Parcells. It's an organization that Wellington Mara always had quality people in the front office, making quality decisions, even Tisch. The Giants were notoriously known for great decision-making. John Mara is no Wellington Mara. It's like the Steinbrenner sons. Hey, your last name may be Steinbrenner, but you ain't the boss. You're not the boss. Just like Jeannie Buss. Hey, Jeannie Buss may have Dr. Jerry Buss's last name. She's no Dr. Jerry Buss. You know what I mean? What up, Big Sills? Just coming into the show from work. 135 likes, folks. Come on, man. Got to get to 200. We'll get there, man. Come on, guys. I know we'll rally. Barkley was good in his rookie year. 1,300 yards, Barb. He was. And he had really good pass catching ability that year, too. Caught a ton in the passing game, too, that year, if I'm not mistaken. Barkley's never lived up to it. Well, guess what? You're on a football team that I pointed out to you spends $175 million just in offensive players alone when they write paychecks. So there's no excuses for Barkley either. I think he's going to really help out Jalen Hurts more when it comes to pass protection, and I've been telling you guys that. Number 9. I've got Jalen Carter here. I think Jalen Carter has a chance to be one of the greatest Eagle defensive tackles. If I were to rank your defensive tackles, and I'm not going to put Reggie inside, I would say this to you. Jerome Brown 1. Fletcher 2. Corey Simon. Corey Simon, 3. Hollis Thomas. I'm going to put Corey Simon 3rd. You know, I'm going to put Hollis Thomas 3rd. I'll put Corey 4th. Jerome Brown, Fletcher Cox, Hollis Thomas, and Corey Simon. Jalen Carter has a shot to get in that room and be the 5th best. Cox 1, Jerome 2, because Jerome didn't play long enough. It's probably, I'm being biased. Hey, underdog, you got me. I'm probably being biased. Yeah, it's true. If you're really going to go with longevity, you're going to go Fletcher. Played longer, decade. Jerome had 4, I think, Pro Bowls in his short time, or 3 in his short time. He was on the way to the Hall of Fame. He had a Hall of Fame career going when he passed. So, I mean, you know, I get asked that question all the time because of the comparisons. And I love the fact that he's wearing 98. That was Jerome's number in college, Jalen Carter. And, you know, they always ask me, you know, what was that like that day? And some of you know, I've told you the story. You know, my wife was with me then, her girlfriend, and they called me on the phone and told me, hey, do you hear what happened? I go, yeah, I heard what happened. Eric Endelsack, who was a guard for the Lions, had just passed away and was killed in Thibodaux, Louisiana. So I thought they were calling me for that. Because Chris Spielman had called me earlier. And I was like, they go, no, did you hear what Jerome? I go, no. And as soon as they said Jerome, I went, oh, God. And yeah, he goes, he was killed with Augustus. And I was like, damn. And I've showed you guys this. Oh, I still have it. Some of you that are new, to the show haven't seen this. Here's a I didn't even see this. I didn't show this to you. Active players. You see where the pallbearers? I was a pallbearer for Jerome. NFL players, pallbearers. Oh, wow. Reggie White was a speaker that day. Yeah, Reggie was a speaker. Wow. I remember him getting up. Alonzo spoke. I think Norman Brayman showed up too. He loved Brooksville. And do I think that Jalen Carter has a shot to be him? I do. I do. I think he has a tremendous shot. All right. Number 10. I got Darius Slay here. Seals, who's your favorite Eagle of all time? Well, one of my best friends is Jerome, but my favorite Eagle of all time is Concrete. Chuck Bednarik. My uncle. And I used to have him on my program all the time. And man, there was nothing like Chuck Bednarik coming on your show. And how hardcore that guy was. I love Chuck. Anytime he did an event in Florida, I was there for him. Or in New Jersey or up in that neck of the woods, Giants and Eagle guys would do events. My uncle would show up. My uncle introduced me to Concrete. My favorite Eagle of all time is Bednarik. It's one of the reasons I vote on his award. The Bednarik Award is because of Chuck. Chuck wore 60. He wore 60. Seals, you put up over 500 on the bench plus. Brown was your boy. You're allowed to be biased. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Jerome was a privilege to play next to. No, Chuck Bednarik wore 60. He wore number 60. Hey, I got Slay 10. And here's why I got Slay 10. He's been a Pro Bowler every year. Hey, don't you agree Darius Slay's been a really great Philadelphia Eagle? Since coming over from Detroit, he's been a great Eagle. Pro Bowler every year, has been an impact guy. Looks like he's really doing some good things here when it comes to teaching the young kids. I don't know. I'm a fan of this. I got him 10. Number 11. I know he's a Gator. Gardner Johnson. I got him at number 11. I think he's going to make an impact. Number 12. I got Cam Jurgens at center. Number 13. I'm going to put Jordan Davis here, nose tackle. It's time to step up, son. You can't be the Pillsbury Doughboy your entire career. You got to get in there. 13th year or 13th pick in the draft. Can't just be an okay guy. The guy in Los Angeles that the Rams got in the third round is outplaying you. Number 14, 18.5 million reasons he's here. I put Bryce Huff here. I want to see him, and I want to see this guy step up for Hassan Reddick. Number 17, or 6, excuse me, number 15, Josh Sweat. I like this player. I don't know why the Eagles are going cold on him, but I like him. Seals, would you play for the Eagles today? Yeah, you know why? You're going to win and get paid. Frustrating thing, though, is you got to understand you're not going to be coached by coaches. You're going to be coached by the front office. And if you're okay with the Cosmo, it's a great question. If I had to pick an organization that I'd want to play for today, it'd be the Steelers. You know why? Because Pittsburgh does everything right. And the stability in the building is there for the last, 60 years? How many times do I love repeating the greatest statistic of all time in pro football front office history. The Pittsburgh Steelers have had 3 coaches since 1969. 3 coaches. There's been more popes and presidents than head coaches in Pittsburgh. That's how you run an organization. There's no knee jerk. There's nothing. They believe in a process. They believe in patience. They believe in evaluation. You know what a successful pick is to them, no matter where you're drafted, is trying to get you to your second contract. When you're drafted in Pittsburgh, they're looking to develop you. Think about what I just said to you. The Steelers have had 3 coaches since the last time. Neil Armstrong was on the moon when they hired Chuck Noll. And they've only had 3 since Neil Armstrong. Three. Look at how many coaches Jerry Jones. Think of this. Before Jerry Jones bought the Cowboys, there was 1 coach for 30 years, Tom Landry. And think about this one. In 34 years of Dallas Cowboy history, from 1960 until 1996, 2 coaches, kind of Switzer, 2 coaches won 5 Super Bowls. And since 96, they've had how many coaches? Chan Gailey, Dave Campo, Parcells, Jason Garrett, Mike McCarthy. Go down the list of coaches that they've had. James, they've had 6 coaches since 96, and they had 2 in 34 years win 5 Super Bowls. Stability wins. Not constant revolving door. That's the problem that I have with the way the Eagles do their business when it comes to their assistant coaches. There's no stability. That's why you're 1-3 in championship games. 2-5. The Cowboys won because they had quality people running the organization. They had Tex Schramm. They had Jimmy. They had Bob Ackles. They had Gil Brandt. Those guys were all making quality picks, quality moves in the contracts. Here, think about here's this. You know the problem is in Green Bay? There's no problem solver. You're running the Packers by committee. Think about this. The Green Bay Packers had for 30 years 2 players quarterbacking, and Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, and you win 2 Super Bowls in 30 years with those 2 dudes. Did you over or underachieve? And in 15 years in San Francisco, they won 5 Super Bowls. I mean, and one guy ran the room. Bill Walsh, John McVay. Then Carmen came in and carpetbagged it and started taking credit for shit that he didn't create. He didn't build the Niner organization. It was 3 men who built the Niner organization. Niner all day, tell them, it was John McVay, Ed DeBartolo, and Bill Walsh that made those decisions on how they built the team. That 84 49er team that won the Super Bowl, their second team was probably the second best team in the league. That's how deep they were. It was one of the greatest football teams I've ever seen. Green Bay's done a fine job. This guy thinks 2 Super Bowls in 35 years with 2 Hall of Fame first ballot quarterbacks is overachieving. He's probably under the same notion. Look at the Patriots. Look at the Patriots. Do you think Bill Belichick over or underachieved in New England? Let me get where I stopped. I stopped at 15 here. I'll pick it up here in a minute. And Prince, I'm going to go to your point here in a minute here. So I got to circle that. Do you think that the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick over or underachieved? The only team that lost Super Bowls to the persons considering as the GOAT, Brady and Pat, both were under 7 points. I don't give a shit if it's under 1 point. Who cares? What do you think, this is a beauty contest? Overachieved, over all day. Sills, you take a lesson from Sills, Philly could take a lesson from Pittsburgh when it comes to acting, not reacting. Just like Pittsburgh could learn from Philly about taking a big swing when the opportunity is there. I think they have taken a big swing here with Russell Wilson. Don't draft a quarterback with the hope of just winning. Overachieved. They got lucky with Brady. There's nothing luck with 6 Super Bowls. You got to coach it too. Now, to your point, they got lucky. The Patriots passed on them 5 times too. You know, everyone goes like this. Ed Sills, the Patriots drafted him. Yeah, they also passed on him 5 times and took him in the 6th. So how smart were they? Okay? Think about what they did, though. And I know I've repeating it a little bit here. They get Brady in the 6th, Gronk in the 2nd. Edelman and Amendola were like free agents or late draft picks. Chris Hogan, Deion Branch. They pick up Corey Dillon, but they never drafted first round pick. They didn't have one first round pick when they won Super Bowls at any skilled position. A tight end and 2 wide receivers and the quarterback in the huddle at one time. Look at what you have. You have 2 first-round wideouts. You have a first-round running back. You have a second-round quarterback. And the Patriots had free agent wideouts, a second-round tight end, and a 6th-round quarterback. And they won 6 times with it. That's unbelievable. Edelman, Amendola, Welker were all UDFAs, undrafted free agents. And the quarterback was a 6th rounder. Hey, James, what was Deion Branch? I forget what he was drafted. Once he left the Patriots, I never heard of it. I think he went to Seattle, signed a big contract, and he was a nobody. Then he came back. They brought him back. I don't know. They accomplished all of that with UDFAs and a 6th-round quarterback. That's unbelievable. You'll never see anything like that ever again. So when everyone goes, hey, it's all Brady, dog, they had players that they put around Brady, not based on draft picks and based on what round you were drafted in. They got players around Brady who they knew Brady trusted and could win with. It had nothing to do with status of what round you went in. The Eagles have the biggest salary in maybe in NFL history in the offensive huddle, and all first-rounders. The Patriots had none. And Philly goes, Brady also had the best defense almost every year. Well, that's the coach too. You know, I brought this up with Xander, and I've said this to you guys. You know, there's no coincidence that Belichick coached the greatest defensive player and the greatest offensive player in NFL history, and Lawrence Taylor and Tom Brady. There's no coincidence to that. I mean, those two guys are outliers. And Reggie's in there with him. Then it's everyone else. But LT and Brady, do you really think that's coincidence? And 8 Super Bowls. And Parcells never won without Belichick on his coaching staff. Bob says, Sills, here's the luck in New England. Bill and Tom were able to develop a working relationship and embrace winning over personal matters and personal numbers. That's very lucky. Absolutely. Absolutely. Those guys didn't hang out. They didn't play golf together. It was a working relationship. They know they needed each other. Can you imagine having the man that taught Lawrence Taylor defense, teaching Brady how to defend against Lawrence Taylor every single day when they played war games? So when people say you don't want Belichick mentoring Jalen Hurts, why would you say that? Who better to sharpen his mind on how to attack defenses? I don't need an offensive guy to be my head coach. I need a guy who knows how to stop people. Brady stopped Manning. Belichick stopped Manning, Montana, Elway, Marino, Eli. Well, maybe not Eli. Maybe not Eli. Maybe not Eli and Foles. That guy stopped them all, though. So, you think Brady would have won under Andy Reid back then? Cosmo, Andy Reid, Philly? Andy Reid, KC. Which one? Andy Reid, Philly. Yeah. You know why? The greatest asset that Tom Brady had as a football player was he was the greatest teammate of all time. And he would embrace Terrell Owens. If Tom Brady had played in Philly under Andy Reid, Terrell Owens would have played 5-6 years in Philly. He would have. If you can get a murderer like Aaron Hernandez to play for you and win Super Bowls, I think he could have handled T.O. You get a maniac like Antonio Brown down to Tampa, you can win a Super Bowl. He did. There lies the genius in Brady. McNabb couldn't do that. McNabb's the same guy talking shit on Deshaun Jackson at the Pro Bowl and why he was the first player named special teams All-Pro and also to the all-pro team as a wideout. You should be embracing that, giving kudos to your teammate for making that. Instead, what did McNabb do? He moaned about it. Because the guy always had a problem with others being more famous than him in Philly. He missed the boat. I don't think that guy was a very good teammate. You should be embracing your guys. By the way, you know how people in Philly and the Philly media go? Even our dear friend Merrill Reese says this. T.O. was a locker room tyrant and destroyed the Eagle locker room. Well, that's the quarterback's responsibility to fix that. He's a quarterback killer. Who? Jeff Garcia? Tim Rattay? You kidding me? Terrell Owens went to the Hall of Fame with Tim Rattay and Jeff Garcia throwing him the ball? And Tony Romo? He didn't play with one Hall of Fame quarterback except for Steve Young. Like, everyone always goes like he played with these real. He didn't play with really. McNabb is a borderline guy. I'm awake, are you? I love McNabb, but T.O. wasn't the problem. You know what? Even if T.O. was the problem, the quarterback's responsibility is to make that thing work. That's what Jalen does with AJ. Here, let me do this. Let me ask you guys one question here. How do you think McNabb would have handled AJ Brown these last 2 years? Especially when he saw him get that contract signed. How do you think McNabb would have handled AJ? I think Jalen Hurts would have been good with Terrell Owens. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I completely think he could have handled Owens. I think he would have worked with him. McNabb would have hated. Sills, it wasn't a Bill and LT relationship that benefited Brady. It was Bill and Harry Carson. Okay, Carson was the brains of the defense. Okay. No need to handle AJ. He's a professional. He's a professional diva. Completely different personalities. McNabb is a flake. Yeah. Yeah. Like Brady and Moss. Perfect. Look at Randy Moss. There's a guy that took plays off. Not in New England. You know the biggest gripe that you have about Randy Moss? Watch some of his games. The play not coming to him, play side. AJ's got a little of this. I'll take the playoff. Do you know how important it is? You know one of the great things I used to like watching with Steph Curry? You ever watch Steph Curry without the basketball, running around the court, tiring people out? He's just as good without the basketball as he is with the basketball. Because he's one of the greatest decoys of all time. You don't want that guy getting in open space and hitting a three. You just don't. I'm awake, are you? Syracuse McNabb. I saw him throw 63 on the Canes once. He's a tremendous player up there at Syracuse. He was great. Just absolutely fantastic. Fantastic football player. All right. Appreciate everybody. Thank you so much. Please hit the like button here. We are going to get to the top of the hour, and we're going to have 200 likes again. We want to finish the week out. Hey, I want to make sure that you guys this weekend do me a favor. If you see somebody that has served our country, make sure you honor them and shake their hand. I always do that whenever I see it, not just Memorial Day weekend. It's always important. And one of the things we do here at JAKIB is honor the folks. So Monday we'll be off for the holidays. So again, it's a great weekend. It's a great American weekend, one of the greatest of all time. Please hit the like button. We're going to reset. Philly Godfather is also going to join us. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Valle Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show, please. Hit the like button. There you go there. I appreciate that, Sue. 39 more likes to go to 200. You guys just absolutely been killing it. By the way, we're laying the groundwork here. You know what? Do me a favor, too. I implore you to do this. Some of my bosses used to hate this. I implore you to do this. All the people that are out there, I want you to listen to them because you'll be back. Please. Please. Just listen. Go listen. Go. I want you to. The radio, that Philly thing, sports, listen to it. You'll go, okay. Oh, I want you to. I want you to. I mean, you're laying the groundwork now. Thank you, Sue. I appreciate it. Guys, keep the running total going. Wayne, thank you very much. Wayne, I take it more like this. No, they ain't us. Because we're in this bad puppy together. Makes us appreciate the best even more. Correct, Barb. Barb, when you don't really have fear of anybody else out there, it's a wonderful thing. Because I know what I have with you guys. We may not agree, like me and Senor. Look at Senor. I can't even listen to another Philly station. If it's worse than this, I can't handle it. Oh my God, that's so good. Hey, Senor, you're such a dick, but I love that. Hey, I totally dig that, dude. Hey, hey, Sileo, I hate you, but I listen every day. It's another one of my favorite lines of all time. Hey, we're nuts, but we're family. Isn't it funny that when people start talking shit on you guys, I come unglued a little bit? No, hang on here. Right? Thank you very much, Senor. I mean, that's quite a compliment, man. It really is. But wait a minute. Hey, Senor, let me piss you off here a little bit. Kenny Flickett. Anything? Kenny Flickett. Somebody goes, Flickett gets Pickett. Kenny. Oh, man, that Kenny Pickett guy was unbelievable today. Did you see him in helmets and shorts? Holy crap. I couldn't believe how Kenny Pickett or Flickett or Flickett. I couldn't believe how great he was in helmets and shorts. Stevens goes, get Jack Fritz on. The couch is on. Hey, is that the guy who does this? So tell me, AJ, how are you handling it? And is this the guy, Jack Fritz? So tell me, AJ, how are you handling all this controversy? Do you think your mom had something to do with it? Is that it? Yeah. Do you think this goes back to childhood and breast milk? Or Similac? Ah. Okay. Right? I know you're from Connecticut, but are you sure your folks didn't visit PA during the time of conception? Hey, somebody told me this, Wayne. I don't know, Sills. There's no way you're from that aristocratic Connecticut. You got the face of South Philly on you. I know. I get it. I understand. Believe me, I get it. You sure they weren't down there, man? They're in the flats and shit there in the time back in the day, you know, when we're all, I don't know. Well, I told you when WIP first started, I told you that, like, when I would go down to Wildwood, I would listen to WIP. And the station was awesome then. I mean, it was really great sports talk. Angelo was just getting going. Who was the guy that passed away that you guys had on? Maybe he was mid-mornings or midday. Who was that dude that was on? Howard was on, I think, in the afternoon. But who was that guy that passed away? And he was there for like 100 years. And I'm not talking Ray Diddy. I'm talking a guy before him. Who was that dude that was on there, man? He was on there a long. That's it. Steve Fredericks. He was great. He's another guy. Dude, IP was way better than FAN. Oh, Steve Fredericks, man. He was freaking awesome. I liked him. Taylor, I liked him. Had a great delivery. Whole thing, man. He was really fun to listen to. Okay. Hey, Big Rhythm. The Kobe Dean was told by a Philly fan, "We love you so much, we take a bullet for you. But if you suck, we will push you in front of it." That resembles Sil's chat. Hey, Jacoby, I'm with you now. But by the end of the year, Right now, I'm going to drive you to Lincoln Financial. But let me tell you this. If you shit the bed, I'm going to run you over at Lincoln Financial. Hey, that's very Philly. Very Philly. The guy who lived on McDonald's for 30 years. Bill Campbell. He was good too. Yep. Connecticut is a very peaceful place. In certain areas, talking about quiet. Well, I lived down in the Cove. I was raised down in the Cove in Connecticut. That's where all the Italian guys are. How you doing? A lot of fish. Sometimes. A lot of fish. A lot of paisans. Waterbury's more Boston. That's up that neck. By the way, it's funny. People always go like this. Sills, you did Boston radio. I go, yeah, I did WIP or WEEI for a little bit. And Mystic's got great, New Haven's got great pizza. We've talked about it. Super pizza up there. And plus the Colony in Stamford is the best on the planet. God, I love that pizza. Just tremendous. And I grew up on it. And people always go, hey, Sills, what do you make of Boston? I hate everything about Boston. And I still do. The fans are great, but I hate the Red Sox. That shit wall of theirs is all they had. But see, back then, the Curse of Ruth was still alive. Man, I couldn't stand Boston. And get this, I knew their starting lineup. George Scott at first. Dewey Evans in right. Rice in left. Lynn in center. Fisk behind the plate. Burleson, Butch Hobson. I hated that whole freaking team. I couldn't and Louis Tian on the hill. Campbell closing. Oh, I knew that whole thing, that rivalry. I could not stand the Boston Red Sox. Boggs was a little after. I'm talking more from like the 70s. The 75 series is probably the greatest series of all time. By the way, once again, Phillies killing it. First 50 games, they got 36 wins. That's insanity. Yep, Jim Lonborg was on that pitching staff. He sure was. That was an absolutely phenomenal World Series, the 75 series. I'm trying to think. I think if I'm not mistaken, some of you baseball fans, I think Yaz made the final out in that 75 series. I think he made the final out. I was like, great. 23 more likes to get to 200. That's great. Appreciate you guys. Very cool. Let's reset here. I want to go back. Is there anything you feel I need to add on the 10 things the Eagles have to do to get back to a Super Bowl? 37 wins? Wow. That's insane. That's a great start. That I would have to think. I'm thinking of the Philly teams. Whew. That 80 team was good, obviously. The Kurt Schilling teams were good. This is the Roy Halladay team, obviously. That series was crazy because I was covering the Rays at the time. I was covering the Rays because the Rays were on our network down in Tampa at the time when the Phillies won that series. Great. But then you had a great organization, but the best general manager in Philadelphia is in the Philly organization. It's not Howie Roseman. It's Dave Dombrowski. Whether it's the Marlins, it's Detroit, whether it's Boston, Dave Dombrowski's the best. All right. Stop the run. Yeah, but doesn't that go down the line, Lair? Let me recap it again. By the way, Philly Godfather is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. We're going to ask him. Late 90s Yankees teams were special. Forrest, you really think those Derek Jeter teams could have beat those Reggie teams? with Gossage closing. They had Rivera. I'll take Rivera over Gossage. I'll take Rivera over Gossage. Munson over Posada for sure. I'm taking Reggie. Third base, A-Rod or Nettles. A-Rod. I'm taking Jeter. But the pitching, Guidry won 25 games one year. Gullett was on that staff. Catfish Hunter was on that staff. The 78 team was awful good, man. Sills has the Philly fans with the worst case of Stockholm syndrome. They forgot all about that. They forgot all about that run, didn't they? Yeah. Yeah, and they just swept too, man. They really Halladay the following year. I told you guys a story about Roy Halladay. He lived in Orlando, and I used to see him all the time going around and floating around Orlando because he bought a home down there. I think he bought a home down there when he was with the Blue Jays. And Roy Halladay, what a great guy. Unfortunately, obviously, what happened? I think he died in an experimental airplane or some shit like that. He was so great a pitcher and a great dude. What a great no-hitter. I think him and Larson. I got a baseball signed by Don Larson before Don passed away. I got a baseball signed by Don Larson. He only got to throw a perfect game in a World Series game. I think he threw it in a wild card game. Halladay, that was like in a wild card game, right? That he threw that no-hitter. I think those are the only two no-hitters ever thrown in postseason play. Was Larson and him. Yeah, Halladay he was a special player. Unbelievable pitcher. Tremendous. Versus the Reds. Yeah, that's right, Chuck. Versus the Reds. I think that was the opening round. Really great. Unbelievable. That was a really great baseball team. That Phillies team that won that series. Yeah, Halladay did push the envelope, man. Got in that experimental airplane. You're like, damn, dude, what are you, John Denver? And, I'm just incredible. So we're going to go over these 10 things here also with Kenny Flickett at Xander, man. Hold on. Kenny Flickett is out playing Jalen Hurts. Wow. Do we have a controversy in helmets and shorts? Do we have a controversy? Do we have a controversy in OTAs and helmets and shorts? Kenny Flickett. Phillies also had Dave. Dave Stewart is a tremendous friend of mine. Love Dave Stewart. Dave Stewart, one of the greatest postseason pitchers. I think we've had him on here. We've had Dave Stewart on. Sills, I like controversy. Not me, man. I don't try to create anybody. That's not who I am. But again, Jalen Hurts, $50 million. Running back, 10. Wide receiver, 32. You got a $175 million offensive huddle. And you got, before I get Philly Godfather on, how about this? Kenny Flickett. Kenny is just flicking it. Do we have a quarterback controversy going on in OTAs right now? Oh, my God. I can't wait. By the way, we're going to do a little baseball. with our friend. What do you think the odds are that the Phillies end up winning? An opportunity. We bring our friend in right now, Philly Godfather. He joins us here.
What's
Are we
up?
connected?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're not seeing you here, though. There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think we got a little spotty of a connection here a little bit.
All right, let me try to redo it.
All right, cool. All right. We'll see if we can reconnect here a little bit. See if we can jumpstart this thing here. It's all the money he makes. You understand that? Right? Sills, it's me. What do you mean it's okay, here we go again. It's going to be with Big Sills here on my end. I don't know. I've got everything cool on this here. It's my end. All right, so we'll just power through it. Been in Tokyo the last 2 weeks. Got to look up full post. It's more about how Kenny is doing well. If he has to start not about beating Jalen. One open practice. Come on. Hey, don't get mad because Kenny Flickett looks better than Hurts with better talent. Kenny Flickett. Damn. Now, I do like Philly 500's take. Xander, how about this one? Here's Philly 500's take. The Eagles are pumping this guy up because they want to try to get a 2 or 3 out of the guy when the trading deadline comes around. And they're just going, this guy's unbelievable. Can you believe it? Holy shit. He looks great. I can't believe how good he looks. Dude, this guy here can help a team. He may help our team. Could it be that? That Howie's trying to rig the deck a little bit here. Hey, can you believe how good Pickett looks? Actually, that makes sense. Propping up your guy. Why wouldn't you do it? Right? That's probably what the Steelers are going to try to do to Justin Fields. If you could get a second rounder, hey, Yale, it's not a bad take by Philly 500. That's not a bad take, actually. It's not hey, right? Hey, Mr. Bo, that's not a bad take, and I appreciate the comment. Thank you. That is so not a bad – hey, so you're going like this. Dude, this guy was in a bad situation. Let's see if we could try it again and get Philly Godfather here with us. Hey, go, brother. How you doing?
Good, man. I had to do it off the phone if that's cool with you guys.
Oh, that's totally cool. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So Kenny Flickett, he's now outperforming Jalen Hurts. Kenny Flickett, what do you make of that?
It's a little too early for all that, but I know Jalen Hurts lost some weight. He looked a little bit more mobile. He talked about his knee issues, affecting him last season. This year, he looks a little bit like he's a little healthier. I don't think Kenny Pickett's going to be the starter, but it's good to have him as a backup.
I'll tell you what Philly 500 said. He goes, how about this with what the Eagles are doing? They're kind of propping the guy up, so maybe when the trading deadline comes, you know what? You're going like this. Hey, anybody out there need a quarterback? And instead of they end up getting a guy for a late-round pick, all of a sudden, I think they got a third-day pick for him. Instead, you get a first-day or a second-day pick for him. You get a 2 or a 3 maybe by gassing the guy up a little bit. So, I mean, could there be some thought process to that?
I mean, you need a backup in the NFL. Yeah. And if Jalen Hurts is going to be a little bit more mobile this season, it gives him the increased chance of getting banged up. So you definitely need a backup. And if he's playing well, you got to keep him, man. You can't, you need backups in the NFL.
All right. What do you make of the Dolphin players throwing all that shade at Vic Fangio? Is it a concern?
A little bit. What was it? The safety, Holland, said that he's too old school for the new NFL. And he's a little, out of touch with the players of today. You can take it as a positive or a negative. I mean, some old school coaches, they do things the right way, and they demand, preparation. They demand performance, where a lot of these new coaches kind of go with the flow. So, that's how you take it, Dan. That's all.
Mitch is saying Kenny is out playing Wishbone Hurts. Thank you there, Mitch. I appreciate that. I mean, yeah.
I know I know Jalen Carter stuff for Vic. He says he likes him, so that must be a good thing. That's a positive.
No. You know what? At the end of the day, my take was this. Hey, man, one thing that the Dolphins are is soft. Maybe that's exactly what the Eagle players needed, because I'll tell you this, and I told Xander this yesterday. They may have done Vic Fangio and the Eagles the biggest piece of credit, and they may have done them the biggest favor of all time. Because now you've got players, like you said, rallying around the guy, which is going to make it a lot easier for him to coach.
Yeah, and he demands accountability, and that's something that's lost in this day and age, especially with our politicians.
Hey, what do you make of what do you make of AJ Owen showing up in a Harley there at the charity bike ride there? I mean, Sanders says it's no big a deal. Philly 500 says it's no big deal. I mean, he motorized scooter, whatever the hell it was, a fat boy. This guy's showing up there, man. I mean, is it just part of the position now?
I guess he's making all that money too. So what's a $20,000-$30,000 bike, maybe $50,000. I know I won't ride no more. Last time I rode my fat boy was 1997, and I got hit at 19th and Market in Center City. And thank God I didn't break any bones, but I went flying about 20 feet. So they're extremely dangerous, man, especially when you ride alone. It's good to ride with a group of people.
Yeah, you know what, too? It's in your contract now that when the season starts, you're not allowed on those things. They're built into the contract that you're really not allowed to ride motorcycles during the regular season, and they're all in the NFL contracts here. I want to play something here for you, and I want to ask you these questions. These are 10 things that you think, or I think, have to happen for the Eagles to make it back to a Super Bowl. So I'm going to go down this list here. First, Hurts has to play great. Willie.
Yeah, he has to play great. He's got to go back to that MVP type of year. He's got all the weapons. He's got more weapons. Offensive line ain't as good. I think getting punched in the mouth last year, gives him that hunger back. Maybe makes him stay in the film room longer, do less commercials, and go back to playing that hard-nosed football he played a couple years ago.
Number 2, both coordinators have to be a success. And I dare say they have to almost resemble a little bit of Gannon and Steichen type of success for them to get back. You agree?
Absolutely, because Sirianni, what's he going to do for the team? Absolutely.
Number 3, how important is Barkley's health?
On a scale of 1 to 10, during the regular season, I say a 5. During the playoffs, more like a 7.5, 8.
So him being out there in that huddle, you think it's essential if they go to a Super Bowl? I said this. You give me 13 games of Barkley, that's going to get him probably 4 games misses, maybe a little too much, maybe three. If you give me 14 games and he misses 3, they're going to go a long way.
We need him in the playoffs.
Number 4, Goddard's got to have a huge year. I mean, it's now or never, isn't it? I mean, that was one of the key components. You ever notice every single time this guy is hurt, it's usually later in the year, and it's always during a stretch run when they need him the most. He's not out there, and it takes away the middle of the field for Hurts. I think he's got to play big. Or do you think his role will be bigger or less under Kellen Moore?
I think it'll be the same as before. He's just a big, strong guy, and he plays so hard on every down. And those tight ends, they're built different. You look at Gronk. I mean, those guys are just, they're a different breed catching the ball, and they play hard on every down. So, for me to say, well, he keeps getting injured. Yeah, but I mean, the guy's playing his ass off. So, yeah, you're definitely going to need him to be out there. You're definitely going to need him to be healthy. It's going to be a tougher year. The NFC got better. AFC got better. And they got a lot of tough quarterbacks on their schedule this season. So, yeah, he's definitely going to have to come up big.
Angelo still says 5 wins.
Nah. Actually, let me tell you something. I always talk about the money. There's a little bit of money moving on the Eagles to win the NFC East. They are now the favorites to win the NFC East over the Cowboys And it kind of flip-flopped from about a month ago where the Cowboys were slight favorites. So the money's coming in on the Birds, the sharp money to win the NFC East. So that's a good sign for all fans.
Why do you think that moved? Do you think it's because of what's going on in Dallas with their inability to do anything with Dak and maybe with CeeDee Lamb and some of the things that they're seeing there with some of the player exits too? I mean, not a lot of work in free agency, and maybe people didn't really think highly of the draft. I mean, why did the number move off the Cowboys, you think?
It was a slight move, but it's a combination of all those things, along with the Eagles. I mean, they did hire two supposed stud, coordinators to help Sirianni out. And I guess they're seeing what's going on in these camps, and they think the Eagles are a little bit better going into the season.
Kenny Flickett. That's what they're seeing there, man.
Yeah.
Bryce Huff has to be enormous. And to me, he almost has to supersede Bryce Huff a bit. You can't just get the same number out of him, because what's the upgrade then?
He's going to have at least 10 sacks on the season.
And get this, that still only makes it even. Get this, 10 sacks is still below what Reddick did a year ago with 11.
Yeah.
There's got to be an upgrade somewhere there.
Yeah, the Eagles' defense got a little bit better, and their coordinator got a little bit better. So if he gets 10 sacks, that'll be huge. I think that'll be enough for this team. But again, they got a tough schedule this season, man.
Hey, do you think next week, this is not one of these, but do you think next week after June 1, is Bradbury on the team or not?
Depends on Howie. Howie loves him. I don't.
It would only be
he wouldn't be on my team, Dan. He wouldn't be on my team, but these guys see things differently. I mean, for years I talked about that kid out in San Fran. They loved him as a quarterback. And I think he's on the Cowboys now. I forget his name, but these guys see things different than me and you do.
Number 6. I'm going to relent here. I don't think the linebacking core has to be sensational. I think that the linebacking core has to be solid. They can't be the worst group in the NFC East. Okay? They can't. They could get away with it with the middle of the pack, but they can't be the worst.
Well, they were the worst last season, right?
Yeah, totally.
And if it wasn't for that strong defensive line, their numbers would have been even worse. If they're mediocre, it's a huge upgrade. So I just want them to be mediocre.
Absolutely. Hey, here's my secondary. Tell me if you like it. Mitchell, corner, Slay at corner, Gardner Johnson at safety, and Cooper DeJean at the other safety, with Reed Blankenship backing up, and in a nickel in the slot, Isaiah Rodgers.
Yeah, I love it. Sounds good. I mean,
that sounds like an upgrade, doesn't it?
Yeah, a lot better than last season. I mean, come on, that's a lot better than last year.
Carter and Davis have to have an enormous season this year.
I mean, if we're talking Super Bowl, the year they went to the Super Bowl, they were breaking all kinds of records.
Hargrave had 11 sacks. Fletcher had 6.5.
The productivity on that team, they scored the most first half points, I think, than any NFL team in history. They were coming out on fire. They were always in the lead. Everyone's going to have to play great. The teams got better in the NFC, so you can't be, half-assing out there. Everyone has to play lights out this season in order for this team to get to the Super Bowl.
Fredo Sirianni has to get the fuck out of the way. Just get out of the way. And you know what? This may be harder than thought, because you know why? Let me ask you this: like if you're on the Titanic, okay, and you're on that boat, and you're going down and everyone's dying, I'm throwing somebody out of the lifeboat to save my ass. I don't care who it is. Hey, you sitting there, I'm throwing your ass in the water because I'm saving my ass. He's going to throw someone overboard. I mean, you're just not going to let Kellen Moore drive you into the iceberg, are you?
If they start off 1-3 or 0-4, lights out for Sirianni.
Do you think Sirianni would fire Kellen Moore? Or you don't have that say?
No. He don't have no pull like that. He's just, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, man. Yeah. That's what he's doing.
Where do you want the Krellers?
Time out once in a while. Act like I'm doing something.
Hey, Godfather. Hey, Krellers, Howie, Krellers or jelly donuts? That's all That's all he does is Krellers and jelly donuts.
You're talking about donuts. I had a gluten-free donut today. It tasted like chalk. I spit it out. Don't ever eat a gluten-free donut. I paid extra. I bought because we got a bunch of nieces and nephews coming over this weekend. So I bought a bunch of regular donuts. I said, let me try and eat some healthy ones. Don't do it. Gluten-free, not for me.
How about this, Philly Godfather? Do you think it looks like I eat anything gluten-free? I mean, I'm not a half a sandwich guy, and I don't eat gluten-free shit.
Don't do it. Don't even try it. It's so bad. Oh, my God.
Somebody goes like this. Hey, Sills, you want a Diet Coke? I go, Diet what? What are you doing here, guy? You crazy over here? All right, here's another one. Nolan Smith there has to be a Nolan Smith sighting.
Where'd he go? Where's he at?
SOS. Where are you?
He's on the back of a milk carton.
Dude,
where's he at? Milk carton? Oh, God, help us.
He is a milk carton guy. All right. Now, other sports, baseball and hoop, I got to ask you. You tell me. 36 or 37 wins now in 50 games this Phillies team has. Okay, they look good after the first 50 games, right? All right. Now, you tell me, does this team have a shot at winning the National League and going into the World Series and winning it? Remember, you're probably going to play the Astros.
Well, we took it before the season started. Small future on them at 15-1. We also took the Yankees at 13-1. My sleeper pick, I gave it out on a couple of TV shows about a month ago, was the Kansas City Royals. We took them at 60-1. They're down to 25-1 now. Yeah, the Phillies definitely. It just scares me a little bit because they started off so fast, and usually they start off slow and come on strong in the playoffs. So God forbid their bats get cold late. You know what happens. But yeah, this team's stacked. Well, why couldn't they win the World Series? Especially since we bet them. We do well with our sports betting futures.
What about the Rays? Where are the Rays in this?
They lost some guys. I mean, they're middle of the pack. You got the Yankees, who we love this year. The Orioles are going to be there. Cleveland's playing good. Minnesota's playing good baseball.
How about
Seattle.
the
Dodgers are stacked. I mean, that team is stacked. They're definitely going to be there. The Braves, the Braves are solid. And the Yankees are so good that they're doing it without Jarrett Cole. I mean, when he comes back, they're going to be even better. So that Yankees team, it might be a Phillies-Yankees rematch from, what was that, 2009? They were in the World Series. So we might see that this year.
You don't ever bet on the Mets, do you? Hey, dude, remember what I told you? Mets and Jets. Do you know who they are? When the fall comes, you turn your Met hat inside out, and it's a Yankee lid. Okay? So the Met and the Jets, when Joe Namath and Fireman Ed and Jody McDowell are the most famous Jets that you don't have a fan base.
You know what's crazy, though? I did bet the Mets today in the first 5 innings. You can bet the first 5 innings, and I laid 30 cents on them. So if you guys want to bet them in the first 5 innings, we took a small bite on them. Mets first 5 innings today.
The Mets. The Mets, the Jets, and the Nets. Go away. Go away. All right. NBA. Conference finals. By the way, you want to hear something drastically awful about the NBA? Since 2016, the NBA has lost, are you ready for this? 45% of their viewership.
Yeah.
Since 2016, and it's down 12%. So really, they're having a tough time watching this thing here. With that being said, Minnesota, Denver, how are you looking at that so far?
I'm hoping it's Dallas Mavericks. They won the first game in the series. I got futures on them at 25-1 to win it all. I also had the Clippers. That one lost. And I got Luka to be the NBA Finals MVP at 20-1. So I'm cheering in Dallas. Right now, I think probably get like 3-1, 4-1 on them to win the whole thing. The Celtics are minus 200. You got to lay 2-1 if you like the Celtics. Minnesota's at 5-1. And the Pacers, I mean, it's a long shot. I think they're like 60-1 to win it all. So no one's giving them any respect. I think it's going to be Boston and Dallas. You got Luka, you got Kyrie. You got that young kid playing lights out for Dallas. Those two players, Luke and Kyrie, I mean, who's better than those guys on the entire planet? I mean, those guys can play some ball. And they're battle-tested. And Luka might be the best player in the NBA. It's either him or Jokic, right? I mean, who's better than those two?
I would also say this to you. I can't believe this Kyrie Irving I'm watching. He's been quiet. He's been good. I really think that he's looking at this as a legacy moment for him that, you know what? He could take another guy and he might go down. I'm not going to say he's the greatest Robin of all time because I'll still say that's Pippen. But I'll tell you what, he helped LeBron James win an NBA championship. And if I'm the Lakers after this year, and I'm thinking of making a move to bring someone in to try to help out AD and LeBron, you've already won a championship with him in Cleveland. LeBron knows this. He knows this right here, that the best player he's ever played with next to Dwayne Wade is Kyrie Irving. I'll tell you what, I can't believe how well he's playing. And you know that if it's Dallas and Boston, those Boston fans are going to look to give it to him good because he was an asshole up there in Boston. And Tatum and Brown have become superstars since he left.
Yeah, the only problem with that is I don't think Kyrie and LeBron get along too well. So there was some beef with those two guys a while back. So it's going to take a lot to get Kyrie on that Lakers team.
Kyrie Irving, man, for Finals MVP, I would not rule that out too, man. Hey, are you watching any of the Caitlin Clark stuff?
Nah, I'm not a big WNBA fan. I bet some totals, but I'm not. The product is just, it's hard enough watching the NBA these days where the product's so bad. The WNBA is 100 times worse. It's so hard watching that. For me, my personal opinion. I'm not trying to. Like they got to change the game somehow. It's just I can't watch it. I just can't watch
it. All right. Remember, Kenny Flickett. You should put some money on Flickett to be like the Eagles starter by September because he's beating him out in helmets and shorts.
It ain't gonna happen.
Hey,
I think Jalen Hurts might have a good year, man.
Wait a minute here. If that guy gets out 1-3, are those Jersey boys coming down? No, put my boy Kenny Flickett in. Kenny Flickett. No? Yeah,
maybe by week 8 if they're like 2-6, but we're after the bye week, whatever. But
2-6. 2-6, they're shutting the doors of Novacare if they're 2-6.
They're taking reservations at the Walt Whitman Bridge if they're 2-6.
Hey, 2-6, everyone's moving to Cancun. Hey, tell folks how they can find you, my good friend.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Philly Godfather. You can stop by the PhillyGodfather.com. And I've done a lot of TV shows over the last few weeks. I don't know. They keep hitting me up. And I'm doing the best show in the world right now, the Dan Sileo Show, every Friday, 5:30 p.m.
Thank you so much, man. It's really great. We enjoy having you on here, my good friend. We so appreciate it. Have a great weekend and a great Memorial Day weekend.
Bet the over 10 in the Dodgers game tonight. They're going to score a lot of runs. Good luck, guys.
You got it. That's our good friend, the Philly Godfather. Make sure you earn yourself some dough. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Valle Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
What a performance today by Kenny Pickett. I am so thrilled that he's dominating in helmets and shorts. The same way Quinyon Mitchell and, Cooper DeJean are. You guys are giving all kudos to those guys. These guys look phenomenal. Yes, Darius Slade. Slade's like unbelievable skill set. But then you got Kenny Flickett. By the way, where are we, Xander? In the hit total. Okay? Where are we in the hit total? Guys, I need 13. 10 minutes, 13. Let's hit it. Got to end up here. 13. 13 more. 188. There you go, Sue. I thought Kenny Flickett would bring more. Flickett. The legend of Kenny Flickett. Hey, man. Well, Cooper DeJean and all the rest of the guys are playing exceptionally well in helmets and shorts. No contact, because that's where you make the ball club. Walkthroughs. Flick it. He flicks that bean. Yeah, that's it, Trey. Hey, Trey, don't worry, Hoss. Your time's coming too. Little hands. Little hands, man, Some women like little hands. I don't know. I don't know what that means. I have no idea. I have no idea what that means. Don't ask me. I have no idea. No idea. Okay? Okay. Jalen is throwing to backup cells. Jesus, drop it already. Come on, Prince. So wait a minute, Prince. When you tried telling me everybody's looking good in OTAs and mandatory minicamp, everybody looks good except Kenny Flickett. Is that right? AJ was limited, and Smitty didn't show up. Well, how many AJ Smiths and Devontae Smiths do you think? Okay, and by the way, can you imagine Jalen sucked in shorts and helmets? And if Kenny Pickett is playing that well versus guys like Queasy Watkins, can you imagine if he had star players? Take that into account. All I care about is Pickett playing well if he has to play. Jace, don't say anything that's, don't be smart here, all right? AJ was limited. Look at Prince. Hey, Prince, you make an excuse up for Wishbone Hurts every single day, man. You're the king excuse maker for that guy. I've never seen a guy have more excuses made for him than by you. You give that guy the ultimate hall pass. You totally give him a hall pass. Hey, you're dumb if you don't understand me. Hey, Prince, you're dumb if you don't understand me. Touche. There. Hey, Prince, you're dumb if you don't understand. Hey, you're dumb too, Prince. Yeah. You give out false shit. Hey, Ben, I do like Philly 500's take on all that. Hey, Prince, you think there's something to that, man? They're pumping up Kenny Pickett. Hey, this guy looks great, man. Anybody want him? Maybe. You know what quarterback injuries will do? Look at the Cleveland Browns last year, what they went through. I mean, he might just be somebody's safety belt if a quarterback go like. What if the Jets lose Rodgers again? Would you call like this? Figure this out. Think about the old quarterbacks. Say Baker Mayfield gets hurt. If you're the Bucs, would you call the Eagles for Kenny Pickett? Yeah. I would. If you're the Jets and you lose Rodgers again, would you call Joe Douglas? Would he call Howie and go, what do you want for the kid? Give me a 3. You got a 7 for him. Well, you called me. Hey, remember, you called me. Right. Osborne, great take. Jake Browning. Look at what, hey, by the way, too, Osborne, do you see what the Bengals did with Jake Browning? They gave him a contract because of the way he played. How cool is that? Jake Browning, that's a kid from Washington, right? The University of Washington. He got a contract from the Bengals, who have zippers on their wallets. So if you're pumping the kid up, I think 500 might be onto something, man. Right? Like, or how about this one? Well, you're not going to do that because Deshaun Watson, that is an atrocious contract if that guy sucks. Because you got to eat, that thing's fully guaranteed. Do you understand what that means? There ain't no getting out from cap. There ain't no salary cap hits on that. It's a $260 million hit. I mean, it's fully guaranteed. Signing bonus money? No, the whole thing is a cap hit. Hit the like button. We need 8. There you go. Hey, Prince, from now on, when you say hit the like button, say we need it. We, us. Big Sills, when a coach like Nick lies, putting the players in a bad spot creates issues between the coaches and the players. They don't respect it and stop following you. Completely true. Like the Seattle thing, right? You're referencing Duel. Yeah, I don't want to have to cover for my coach's bullshit. And that comes from the front office. Absolutely. That comes from the front office, man. Right on here. People are saying that Joe Milton is out playing Drake May in Boston. I heard that. I also heard that Caleb Williams is struggling in Chicago. Do you think that's I don't think that that's not true. I told you about Caleb Williams. I don't know. And those pink nails, those pink fingernails now are going to become an issue in Chicago. Hey, man, I'll paint my fingernails. You throw 30 touchdowns and 4,500 yards. I'll paint my fingernails too. And toenails. You throw that many yards for those many touchdowns, what's a new fad? You throw 18 touchdowns and 18 picks and 2,800 yards? Okay, guess what? I'm getting rid of your ass. Who is this guy? He's a weirdo. You're going to go from being a fad to a weirdo. All determining on how well you play. Paints his fingernails. He threw 40 touchdowns. Oh. Okay. What color are they? He had 18 touchdowns and 18 picks. The guy's a weirdo. The Canes lose to the Gators. Sills has the paint. No. Canes ain't losing to the Gators. Or as I like to say, we're not losing to the Howie Rosemans. We need 2 more for 200. Come on, guys. 2 more likes for 200. No. Forrest. You don't lose to Florida Gators at the Shwimpy or the pond or that thing up there in Shittsville, Florida. We don't lose up there to that Howie Roseman school. No, it's not going to happen. August 31st. Then, you want me to I have to paint my fingernails blue? Can't happen again to Chicago Sills. They haven't gotten over the firing of Lovey. Yeah, Lovey was 9-7 or 10-6. Took the team to the Super Bowl and they've canned his ass. Prince, I loved your take about Devin White. I really did. I loved your take about Devin White. You guys are awesome. Do me a favor, please. By the way, we're not on Monday. Senor, you have yourself a great one, dude. By the way, it's Memorial Day weekend. I want everybody to make sure you see someone who has served our country, men, women. It's the greatest team on the planet. Okay, these are people that actually give us an opportunity to cook hamburgers and hot dogs and say whatever we want to say each and every single day, 2 to 6 here. I want to thank you guys a lot. You guys are just without a doubt helping us set the stages for what's going to be when football season starts in, what is it? 67 days out from the start of training camp on July 27th. Thank you, guys. Have yourselves a great weekend. Joe, Xander, thank you very much. 2 to 6 on Tuesday. Have a great Memorial Day weekend.